think that that will broadcast me. And Carol, can you speak for a second so I can see what's being broadcast?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Testing.
I think that worked. I think it's got all of us now. All right, let's see. Anybody else need to get let in here? I don't think so. Oh, did I? Let me see. All right, I'm at the beach today. Can't beat that. Hello, Eras. How are you? How you are? You're muted. I'm gonna.
Not on the beach. I see you here waving in the wind.
Yes, it is. And soon, I'll be waving in the wind with a slightly thinner face when I can put this laptop on top of this big box. Let's see. Box goes in. Slightly better, I suppose. At least you can see all of me, or most of it, all of me. All the lights are on, yeah. Let's see, I think we have 2 more people waiting, so let's let them in as well. Oh, I need to change the broadcast, because of course the broadcast is not looking at anything.
Nothing coming through on YouTube, I don't see.
No, because I haven't fixed that yet. I've got to, it's all in such a small window right now, I've got to do that. All right, there we go. That should be live on YouTube. And if you want to see if you can hear yourself, that would be good too. You should be able to hear me. I see audio when I'm talking, but I don't. And I think I see audio when you guys are talking. Hard to say. It's not easy broadcasting a broadcast.
YouTube Live also on Tuesdays, on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
We do a slow scan on YouTube Live.
You know what? I bet you if I do this. Say test. Bob, how are you doing over there? You're looking awfully comfortable.
I'm finally comfortable. Spent the day putting Christmas lights up on my tub.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of nice. Do they go on if you're not transmitting? Oh. Wow. And look at that. John showed up, even on vacation. You can tell he's on vacation because there's nice art in the background. Hey, don't call him retarded. Oh, you said retired. Never mind. No, I heard Phil say retarded. But I know he didn't. All right. Hey, look at that. Bob is with us. Nice to see you again, Bob. The other Bob. Bob, what's your call sign, Bob? I can't remember. There you go. All right. And Pat is here. Pat, I don't know that I've seen you at a meeting before. All right. Let's see. I'm just waiting for people to come in as they come in. And Carol, if you check YouTube, you should, I assume, now hear and see. And I see we have one viewer that's on right now. Oh, yeah, we had 2, yeah. I wonder if you're the one, and then the other one is. Nope, it is 2 now. You're right. So, yes. YouTube has got to fix their interface. It's like if I have the chat window open, I can't see any of the analytics. It's poorly designed. You can't slide the window over to get the analytics to show up. Just how it is. So let's see here. I've got a few things. I was hoping Chris would show up. I wonder if he's fallen asleep or something. Or maybe I just don't see him here because I don't have everybody. Let's see. Here's my list. Is Chris, you're not here, are you? No, I don't see Chris. So, all right. Kevin, is that you? I think it's Kevin. Kevin, I unmuted you. Is that you? I think, yes, which is okay. I don't care. They're on a meeting and they know they're being broadcast. So um, it's going to be up anyway because their names, what's displayed there is displayed under their face anyway. But I think that's Kevin. Kevin, are you marked as Pat? Okay, I thought that was you. Everybody's going to think you're your wife. Let's see if I can rename you. Yes, I can. I'm going to change your name just to Kevin. And my brain is just faded away. K6. I can't remember your call. What's your call, Kevin? KN, right? Oh, W6KN. That's why I couldn't remember. I had K stuck in my head. Yes, W6KN. All right, I'll change that. Yeah. Unless you want to change your call. You can always just change your call. That would make it easier. I guess that would cost you $15 there. A little bit of light in the front is good. John, nice to see you, John Null. So good. Yeah, yeah. That's the reason we're doing it right now this way. I wanted to make sure that people would actually show up. I wonder though. There's got to be a few diehards here that would actually come. Yeah, Bob, you'd be out there in the cold, right? I mean, where you live, it's 15 degrees colder anyway. Yeah, you are missing out. This week is the peppermint. What is it? Peppermint with peppermint candy and dark chocolate chunks with a maca brownie cookie. So yeah, if you like peppermint, it's like super peppermint. It's not like mint chip ice cream. It's peppermint ice cream, much different. So it'll clear your sinuses. And also, she's got ube. I don't know if any of you know what ube is, but ube ice cream is it's made from it's like a sweet potato, but it's a Asian sweet potato, and it doesn't taste anything like you think it does. It tastes like. Do you? Oh well, you should get some of the ube. She's got ube pandan, which is ube ice cream with macadamia nuts, and uh, the cookie is a pandan cookie with a drizzle of white chocolate. So it's really good. You know, even for people who don't know what ube is, when they first taste it, they're like, "Oh wow." Most of the most of the Americans are scared to eat it though. They're afraid, it's going to be something weird because it's purple. So yeah, you know what? I think I was going to say vanilla y, but I think your description is better. I think that cookies and cream is a good way to put. of course, you don't get that chocolate cookie, but you get that Oreo cream type of sweetness with the vanilla, I guess is what it would be. It's really delicious.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you haven't tried that, you should try that. What else does she have? Those are the two that I can remember. I still don't see Cliff, or I see Cliff, but I don't see him. Welcome, Cliff. Yeah, I see Neil. Where are you, Neil? You're on the screen here somewhere. Oh, there you are. Yeah, good to see you, Neil. For those who don't know, Neil joined the club last. It's last month. I guess it was on the meeting last month, or was it the month before? Month before, I think he said. I read your lips. So, and I see Bob is working on the transmitters over at what's the station? My brain is really bad tonight. The historical station, KPH. Thank you. I cannot believe I couldn't remember that.
Or KSM, yeah.
Or KSM, yeah. So yeah, you're over there working on the station.
My backlighting is not
It's not strong enough.
enough to put a fake background. So
Oh no, your fake background is. Oh, was that a picture? I think I saw you in there. The problem is your lighting in front of you is not enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not the back. The back looked good. It's just your front was. You need to get a little more light.
The ambient lighting here. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then David's here. Good to see you, David. I don't see Mike LQ, but he may be lost in here. No, don't see him there. I can't.
That's a headshot.
Oh, I didn't see. I'm just glad my balding is not showing. It's pretty good. So I was hoping for Chris, because Chris can do the report for what's going on. But I wonder if he just fell asleep. He knew that we had a meeting tonight. John, what state are you in? I don't mean mental state. Let me see if I can help him unmute. No, I can only ask. It's interesting how some people I can mute and some people are unmute. So where are you?
I'm in Tennessee.
Oh, you're in Tennessee. You brought your radio with you there, didn't you?
Next week.
That's right. I just thought that would be a great place. Boy, you know, all the stuff in Tennessee, or all the stations down in the south out of Tennessee, you'd probably get some really good work there.
In Colorado.
Yeah. Does it have a giant ballon on the bottom? Is it a more than 50? Is it up in 91 to 1, or you know? Yeah, those things are pretty big. Is it good to 100 watts, or is it just good to 10? Oh, well, that's pretty good. You know, that's all you need to be. As long as it doesn't start on fire, you're good. Well, that's good. Fire is bad. Fire bad. That's right. So, and Cliff, you're like the sun child. You have the sun just glowing out of your head.
How you doing?
Good. It's good to see you. You've been keeping quiet for a while. Yeah. Exercising? No. Well, you have that new pedal bike, don't you? Make sure you get on it. Oh, nice. Not one in the streets, I hope. see, who am I missing here? I see Dennis is here. Good to. There you go. I do hear you. Let's see. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Phil, tell us, what have you built lately? You've been stuck in the house. I'm sure you must be building something. Yep. Nice. What do you think it'll? When do you think you'll have that worked out? I think too much light is what's going on. There you go. That's better. Nice. Excellent. I knew you'd be working on something over there. There's no way you could sit still with all that stuff, and that's good. We're glad to have you in our group. You keep things moving along with those projects. So thank you for that. I have my CW 2 meter radio as well. The oscillators. I have played with it, but I haven't actually used it on the air yet. Art's been asking me to get on the air with him with it, and I've just been so slammed with stuff going on here. I actually haven't been able to do that with him yet. And he wanted to go simplex, and I don't think that I could get. What all I have is the Bofang. Yeah, that's what he was telling me. Is that they're definitely doing that over there at the Long Island group now. So, and I think it's going to be super helpful for the class. Hopefully, when people feel more comfortable, if we can, if they want to do the vaccination and they think that's going to save them, great. Then we'll have the class again. Church is closed. I heard the governor made some sort of executive order today. I didn't really hear what it was, but yeah, I think he shut something else. Or yeah, well, still don't know anybody who's died from it, but I know probably about 10 or 12 people who have had it and are still just. Do you? Oh, okay. Yeah, I still don't. I know, like I said, I know 12 people now who have had the coronavirus, and all of them got through it like a flu. And I tell you, one of the people that I know, I was certain he'd die because he's like, he's he's on that far end of, if you get it, you'll die type of situation. So I was waiting to see if he was going to be okay or not, and he was fine. Mhm. Yeah, I was talking to the wife today, and she was telling me that one of her friends who works in the industry said that at the end of this month they will be vaccinating people. So they already got the vaccines coming out. I suspect by you know February of next year, pretty much anybody who will want a vaccine will be able to get a vaccine. Well, I think there's already been some level of approval because, like I said, they're starting. Yeah, yeah, they've already started shipping. So they- yeah, so I suspect that we're gonna see it here. Like I said, they've already started rolling it out here to places like Walgreens and that sort of thing. Um, so it's already coming out. They just haven't approved it, but they've already, yeah, they're stocking it up. So anybody who's interested in taking the vaccine, they'll be able to, and hopefully I can fill the CW class by April. That would be nice. That's our normal start, so we're not going to be off course if we can get things going by April. That would be nice. Yeah, if there's no delays, it could actually happen. So we'll see. That's kind of up in the air right now. I don't have Chris on here. I don't see him asking to join, so he must, like I said, he's either snoozing or eating dinner or he just plain forgot. He can get ice cream anytime he wants. He just has Patty drive him over. So, so we'll see what happens with that. But I believe that we had a pretty good turnout this month on net check-ins. Uh, I believe that even on our slow week, we had 8 or 9 people checking in. That was last week. And the other weeks, they were between 9 and 13. So we had a whole bunch of check-ins. I think we were probably right around the 40 number this month. Um, as far as uh, club funds go, I don't have the actual report, but the only expenses that we've had, once again, is the Zoom expense of $15 a month. And with the lockdowns continuing, I think we were considering, since we were meeting at my place, was considering that we would drop the Zoom so that it would only handle 4 people at a time, because last month and the month before we didn't have more than 4 people on Zoom, but we had between 11 and 13 people sitting out in the driveway. So the consideration was, do we keep Zoom for next year, or do we keep paying the $15 a month, which allows us to have more than 4 people at a time for more than 45 minutes, I think is what it is. So I think we'll keep it until we know. So I'm not going to cancel at the end of this month, because with the cold weather, maybe it's best, even if we could get together, maybe it's best that we have the ability to keep a Zoom meeting for an extended period of time with as many people as we want. And after all, we're all paying our dues. So it only takes 10 member dues a year to keep the system running. And if that's all we can do, then I guess it's worth it in the end, because we're paying for what we're using. So does anybody object to that? All right, I hear no objections. If I did, I'd just drop you off this. Yeah, just kidding. Of course, you'd still be welcome here. Your dues just go up. Yeah, no expenses other than that. However, we did have income of $2, I think, 3 times for ARRL dues that were renewed through the radio club. Look at the dog slobbering on me. Yeah, ARRL membership dues were re-upped by 3 people. Only one of them was a member. So I want to encourage everybody again to, when it's time to renew your ARRL dues, to do it through the club, because we make $2 for every renewal. We make $15 for every new sign up. So if you know somebody who isn't an ARRL member and they want to sign up, they can go to our club page and sign up. And we are the only place in the United States that takes PayPal for ARRL dues. So if you pay your ARRL dues through PayPal, you can do that through our club when you cannot do it through the ARRL directly. So that's an advantage we have. And once in a while, like in this case, we had 2 people that were non-members, one of which was out of the country and the other one was coast, and they wanted to pay their dues with PayPal, and they soon realized that we were the only way to do it, so they went ahead and renewed through us. So we got $6 there for the 3 people. And then we had Neil join up. So again, that's $20 income. And then we had 2 new members this last month. You'll have to forgive me because I don't have enough windows that I can open in order to see their calls. But one of them asked me to not even give his call, which I thought was a little odd. I think sometimes people get a little overzealous checking those boxes on the opt-outs on the membership application. And I think he may have gotten a little overzealous checking boxes. And he said not to give his name, not to give his call sign, not to give his anything. So it was basically he's a member without anybody knowing he's a member. But I did announce 2 new members. You should have received an email. If you didn't receive an email, well, you probably must have, because you know we're here tonight. But if you didn't receive an email, it means that emails from the club are probably getting stuck in your spam folder. So double check that. It's December, and as you already know, we renew. Everybody renews their dues in January. So if you are not already paid up through 2021, which very few of you are, then please go to the web page and you can make your payment through the web page. It'll let you pay by credit card or PayPal, either one, or debit card. And it's $21 if you use the system, because it's a dollar that we collect to pay the PayPal fee. That way the club actually sees the whole $20 of your membership. And if you want, you can fill out an application for a renewal application. But I will tell you, if you want, just put your name and call sign in. If nothing else has changed, if you haven't changed your email address, if you haven't changed your phone number, or you haven't changed your mailing address, then you don't need to fill all that stuff in. Just click the renewal box and put your first and call sign in, just so I know who's signing up or who's renewing. Otherwise, I get a payment and I don't have any information what's being paid for. So yeah, you don't have to you don't actually have to fill the entire application out. Although you're welcome to do it if you want. It's just a little extra time. But what I do is I look at the application, and anything that's filled out in there, I go and compare it to what we already have in the system, because I assume that there may be changes. So to keep my work down a little bit, maybe just only fill in the things that have actually changed. Of course, your email address is real important, so that you can continue to get the emails from the club for notices and such. Um, as you know, we had the Bug Roundup event, and Bug Roundup event, I think it went really well. I'd love to hear some of your experiences. As a matter of fact, John here, 85 RX, I think. I can't see you on the screen, but John is new to ham radio. Well, I guess he was doing it before in the past. New to CW, thank you. New to CW, took the CW class, and John's been doing super well with his CW, and he took the dive into the bug. So I loaned him a Fiberplex original, and he kind of made his own little vary weight that's more like a fixed weight, but to slow him down a little bit. And John, why don't you tell us about your experience with the Bug Roundup?
And so, yeah, I think about reflection is that like a big school weight about 2 hours, something like that, maybe 14 or 15. And so that's probably same kind of master. I think it's something that
Excellent. I'm glad that you enjoyed that. A lot of people are scared by the bug when they take the CW. They want to do it, but they're afraid to try it. And I think that loaning the bug to people is a great way to give them an opportunity to try something that they wouldn't otherwise go out and get, because it's $250 for most bugs when you get something in decent condition. So uh,
I was pretty happy with the fact that it is something.
Yeah, that's good. I talked to you. I think I worked you. I don't know if I worked you as W6SFM or if I worked you as my own station or as your own station. Yeah, yeah. So that's another thing that I didn't mention is John actually worked the worked the event as a W6SFM station. Everybody knows, or they should know, that if you are a W6SFM member, you get to operate the W6SFM call sign on the air. So, as a matter of fact, of course, it's on the other computer, but I will look for it here in a minute. How about you, UBK? How'd you do in the bug roundup? I don't recall if I saw your log. I know I saw a few logs come in. As a matter of fact, I even of course, it's not going to work. Well, I actually got people who wrote hand logs and sent them in. And this particular person here, this is Mitchell, KV6FPW. And not only did he hand write out his log, and a bit of information on what he was doing, but he was telling me that he was using a quill, and he wrote his log with a quill and red Schaefer ink. So if that's not old school enough for you, then I don't know what it is. But yeah. But he did, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 stations he worked. So that was pretty nice to get 11 stations in just on the short period that he was working. He said he did about an, let's see here, he spent 75 minutes calling CQ on 15 meters with no luck. I actually worked one contact on 15. I found 15 was open, it just people weren't there. And then looks like he said he did an hour the next day on 40. And then on Sunday he worked 80 and 40. So it looks to me like 11 QSO is pretty good considering these are rag chews. We're not talking about RST, thank you, goodbye. People were actually having real conversations. Let's see, for me, I worked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I worked 14 as myself. And as W6SFM, I got just about the same amount. But the thing is here, I was able, as W6SFM, I worked Japan, Mexico, here's another Japan, and New Zealand. So I actually got New Zealand. That was pretty good to hear New Zealand in there. That was at 1:48 a.m. on 22nd. So I guess that's Sunday probably. So Sunday morning at 1:48 a.m. as W6SFM. My shift was 12 to 2, and I worked. That contact. No, I usually hang out. Well, it might have been 20 hours. I usually have fun. Hang out on 30 at night, but that was.
I assume that time is UTC.
That was no, that's 1:48 a.m. Pacific time. 40 meters. Yeah, that was on 40 meters.
Very impressive.
Yeah, well, if you're not aware of it, oh, Chris is finally here. Let him in. If you're not aware of it, the
solar flux level has skyrocketed. We went from 60 to 62, and yesterday when I looked at it, we were at 105. If you look at W6SFM, we now have the solar report on the home page off to the right-hand side. And if you look at it, it reports right now we have a solar flux of 100. So, let me see if I can share that so you can see what I'm
Going
talking about.
downhill.
Well,
Yeah,
all the way from 104 down, or 105 down to 100. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I made it.
Yeah, you did.
I got lost, and I'll go with John or Katie. I don't drive it much night these days, so I get lost.
Right. Is that that's what it was? Okay. Let me see here.
No, I had a late dinner.
Yeah, I figured you were either sleeping or you. I see what's going on.
No, we had the oven fired up, ready to put the pie in. Forgot to put it in.
Forgot to put the pie in.
Anyway.
What kind of pie was it?
So what about Miss? Just tell me fast.
Everything basically.
Yeah, I figured.
Just
Everything you all. Nice to be back with you.
Yeah, we're glad that you made it here. All I need to do is be able to figure out how to get out of the screen that I just put myself into. Of course.
So John, how things in Arizona?
He's not in Arizona.
Tennessee.
Tennessee?
Yep.
You in Tennessee?
Yep.
You know what time it is there?
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
After 10 o'clock. I'm
We
barely
could go
awake.
by and you
I had to
go.
drink some extra coffee.
Yeah, but you haven't been there long enough to. You haven't been there long enough to feel like you're up late.
No, not yet.
No.
Take me about a day to get acclimated. But once I'm in there, I'm all right.
Let's see here. I need to figure out how to share the screen. So, Chris, since you're here, why don't you give us the report for the report for the net meeting.
Okay, we've had 30 check-ins last month and 15 online.
30 check-ins, 15 online.
Yeah, we had a couple of visitors show up. One guy from, was that last week? Yeah, one guy from Oregon checked in, KB7 WDP. What's his name? Steve, he checked in. That I remember.
Uh-huh.
And somebody else checked in here. I can't remember who it was now, but, I haven't heard him back since, so maybe, you never know.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens with that. I'm so ill-prepared to be doing screen sharing while I'm broadcasting on two different places at one time.
Yeah.
So
I got my log file. I got it all together, so I'll get that off to you. I can probably do it right now. And the text log, but it's better than no log. And I worked 33 contacts. So we just talked about the bug roundup. I don't know yet.
Yeah, we just started talking about the bug roundup. Now, what did you do?
I did 33 altogether from here. I think I worked SFM, probably worked, 11, 12 contacts. I can't remember.
That's pretty
Not
good.
too bad.
No, that's not too bad at all. That's pretty good.
For long QSOs too. They wanted to hello and goodbye.
Yeah, and that's what I was telling people is this was not just us saying, RST name PTH goodbye.
So having 12 QSOs is actually, when you consider it could be half an hour, 45 minutes, or even 2 hours in some cases.
That's a lot of QSOs, when you add up all the time.
Now, I had to cheat a little bit this year. I had to end up using the Half Moon Bay SDR because my digital noise was so bad here. It was just killing me. So I used it, and that helped me out a lot.
Nothing
I got
wrong
used
with
to the
that.
latency. That's not a big deal.
Yeah,
Nothing
you know
wrong with
what?
that.
I used one from K1 something or another, and
Is that a Kiwi?
it was no K1. It was in Virginia, and I was listening because I wanted to see how I sounded in Virginia on all the different bands. And his was a SDR radio. You could go in and change the frequencies and tune around.
Yeah.
And his particular station, he didn't have a 200-foot tower with 16 Yagis facing.
But most of them have something like, what are those things called? Not a log periodic, but yeah, I guess there was a log periodic. Yeah, that's what they have at Half Moon, and they have that at Utah as well.
Yeah, this guy here, he had a beverage antenna and.
Oh, that's quiet.
Yeah, so he had a few different antennas, but they mostly were wire antennas. And I also use the reverse beacon. I don't know how many of you play around with that, but if you
I just haven't put it back in.
yeah, if you go
That's very cool.
If you go to the W6SFM webpage, you go over to the right-hand side where it says helpful links at the top of the page. If you click on that and then you look on the right-hand side of the page, it'll say reverse beacon. I believe it's there. It's either there or it's down at the bottom of the page. And all you have to do is put your call sign in. When you click on it, it's set up to automatically put W6SFM in so you can see if anybody is calling CQ from SFMARC. But all you have to do is replace your call signs in there once you get there. And it'll tell you.
Say one thing, conditions were definitely better.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, there was a time during the afternoon, or I guess it was around noon, it was kind of flaky. They were going in and out, but for the most part, they were there, and a lot more activity.
Yeah, without doubt.
I met some new people I haven't talked to before, which is always good.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Like I was telling the guys, I worked Mexico to Japan and New Zealand for my shift as W6SFM.
Yeah, you got on 15, all right?
No, I got the 40 meters at 1:48 a.m. on Saturday night.
Oh, yeah, that night shift, the way you can get through that, that's the long one. That's tough.
Yeah, you know what? I actually went till 3 in the morning. My shift ended at 2. But I got to tell you, the bands really started rolling in right about 2:30. It was starting to get really busy at that time.
People start waking up back east.
Yeah, they're waking up back east, and places like Australia and New Zealand, they're actually, I think it's 24, or no, it's what is it? It's
19 hours ahead of us.
19 hours, which ends up being 4 hours behind us the next day.
Yeah.
So for them, it was like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night. So it worked out really well for that guy. So yeah, I enjoyed that. Carol, did you get on the bug roundup any this year? No, not this year. I know you got that bug and you had it all ready to go, but maybe you'll do the one in May.
Yeah.
Yeah. By then.
I'm gonna join the fray and get a coffin bug just to keep 60s alive.
Yeah. Well, that's what Carol has.
So, you know what? We'll get me one. No, won't drop it this time. Might last longer.
Yeah, I have a coffin key somewhere. I have one or two of them. John, that's what you carry around with you, right?
Yeah, that's what I travel with.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what you do, huh? Cool.
Yeah, my $10 coffin.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get out of this bug. I'm gonna buy it from this guy. I told him I want it, so he's gonna hold it for me.
When you travel on the plane, do you have to get special permission to take a coffin with you?
No, I just tell them it's semi-automatic, and they get all excited.
Oh yeah, they should strip you down.
Yeah, I bet that probably does cause a little bit of extra action there, huh?
I don't think I
tell
would
the
get too.
truth, right?
I wouldn't get too humorous with those people. No,
No, I don't.
I know you don't.
Now,
They have too much humor.
David, I see you
well,
out there. We can't see your face, but I know you're there. If you're still listening, maybe you're making dinner or finishing dinner. KC or K6EIM. Did you get on the bug roundup this time?
Yeah,
Oh, good. It's working.
working.
It's working, and yeah, my bug worked really good over the that couple slots of time I had in the mornings. What did I do? I forget now. I think I did the 4 to 6 a.m. slot.
Yeah, you were early.
Yeah, I did the early slots. I did that on Saturday and Sunday, and I also have a weight on my bug. And I've got it set really good right now. In fact, I've been really happy with it.
It sounds good now. You got it. It's sounding pretty good now.
It's
not
yeah,
too heavy. Yeah.
I made the adjustments on it from our last bug roundup where I was having some trouble. But yeah, in fact, I really enjoy using the bug now, and I'm not using the straight key, although the straight key's right next to it. And that's partly because actually the bug's easier than using the straight key. I finally figured that out.
That's why they make them.
Yeah, that's why it came around.
Yeah, that's not rocket science. And then they came out with the keyer, but we're not talking about that on the bug roundup.
No, that's cheating.
That's cheating. Yeah.
I don't know who would use a paddle anyway.
Well,
it worked out really well. That 4 o'clock slot. So I forget. I think I was I on 15 meters or
no,
30
80,
meters?
80 or 40.
No,
Or 30. Yeah.
No, was it? I forget. I emailed Mike. I emailed you what I did. I forget what I told you.
Yeah, I've got so many screens going on so many windows now.
No. I'm gonna find it right here. I gotta look it up because I'm kind of curious right now. I was 20 meters for some. Let's see. This is SFM. And I remember I wrote you. I was really excited to tell you.
Oh,
Yeah, I know I saw it come through. It's in the logs here, or in the email. I just
can't... here it is. Here it is. So, for the bug roundup, it was all 40 meters, it looks like.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
That makes sense for morning time. For early morning
was,
like that, 40 meters.
I was running 85 watts. I got Indiana, New York, Colorado, New Mexico, and Ohio.
Good.
During that time frame.
Let me see. Man. Was that Indiana station? See if it's the same when I worked, because you don't hear Indiana too often. Indiana NZ9R.
I had K9VP.
Oh, okay. I know who that is too. Yeah. I heard him out there as well. I might have worked him on my own.
And I want to say, I think most of the contacts were actually using the spotter that we had on our website.
Oh, okay.
Because I told everybody where I was.
Right. Yeah, that thing comes in really handy. I wish more people would actually make use of that spotting window. That's something else I could look at right now. I know I wrote a statistic down. I didn't look to see how many people were in that particular window. I do have that information. I just don't know that I wrote it down yet. But I did some printouts for the bug roundup. I'll have to find them. I was expecting we were going to have a in-person meeting in person, so I had all the paperwork printed out. But looks like we had 230 people on that chat window. 230 unique visits. And we had almost 1,000 people come to the W6SFM page after the event was announced, and the announcement was, I think, the announcement, what does it say? I have it on the other paper, but I made the announcement about 2 weeks before. Usually what I do is I say I have a save the date notice that I put out for the bug roundup about a month before the event, and then 2 weeks before the event I have a reminder, and then also 2 weeks before, if you're on the list of people who filled out the bug roundup registration, then you probably got an email from me that said the reason you're receiving this is because you had signed up for the bug roundup at some point. So that's really what that registration is meant to do. It's to get people on the email list so that 2 weeks before the event we can send out a reminder and let them know that we're going to have that roundup again. Currently, I think we have about, it's either 450 or 500 people on the bug roundup registration notification list. So every bug roundup I send out between 450 and 550 emails. And then this year I posted on over 50 user groups, like the Elecraft group and the SKCC group and FISTs. So they all get a notice in their user groups about the bug roundup, and hopefully the moderated groups let it go through so that they can actually see the information, which is nice for their members to actually see what's going on there. Yeah, so that was what happened, and that's why we get 1,000 people that come to the website every time, because we have so much worldwide notification. So our next event is in May, and hopefully we'll have a bunch of you guys with your bugs out there. And remember, please, we could really use the help. We could use the help on W6SFM, because the event is 48 hours, and we really like to keep our station on the air. Now, this year, I have to admit, it's my fault. The 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. shift, although John 85RX said he would take it, I thought he had enough on his plate as it was, and I didn't really think that 2 to 4 a.m. was going to yield so much, so I figured why have anybody stay up in the middle of the night. But I will tell you, like I said, when I was on there at 2 o'clock in the morning that first Friday night, I did not get off the air till 3, because even though my shift ended at 2, I just realized that there was so much activity going on starting at 2 o'clock in the morning. I almost wished that I had put somebody on between 2 and 4 in the morning, because it turned out to be one of the better times.
I think it could get better from now on. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I think maybe come.
So I did that slot one year. I think the first round I did that. Right, 2014. I did the whole 12 to, I don't know what it was, 4.
Yeah, you did. I recall, and you probably wished you hadn't. But the bands are really coming alive now.
Yeah.
You know, as an example, for those who don't remember, last May, when we did the bug roundup, you couldn't hear past the Rocky Mountains. I mean, it was so bad that, you were lucky to get a 0 station.
It was disheartening, yes.
It was.
I remember a couple of years ago, we were working back to Rocky Mountain pretty easy.
Yeah.
I was working a guy back east on the East Coast, on 40.
Yeah. So this time, for this event, East Coast was easy. I mean, I was, like I said, listening. I listened on 15 meters while I was CQing at on the Virginia SDR station, and I was like a 7 over, uh, 7 to 10 over on the SDR radio in Virginia on 15 meters, calling CQ.
Nice.
But nobody answered me for probably an hour, and it was because there are no people on the bands. They
The
just
bands
have.
are open. Just look at the DX contest last weekend. That tells you everything.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, 10 meter was open. I was here in South America. I heard of CX, I think, EA Spain. So, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think I worked Chile, actually.
Chile was coming in. The things weren't loud, but boy, some of them were loud. But, you could tell it was opening up.
Yeah, I got.
I worked Argentina.
Yeah.
15 meter was smoking. Oh,
I worked Chile on 17.
Yeah.
I worked Japan on 17. I don't see my 15
great
meter.
in Japan, yeah. No sweat.
Big in Japan? Let me see here.
We worked in Japan a lot when KPH on 17 when I'm over there.
Yeah, well, that's a little different too. KPH is not
We
your
ever get
normal
over there
station.
again?
Yeah. Might be Rio Vista. I don't know where we're going.
So this brings me to the big question: why Era still doesn't have a bug?
Good question.
I tried. Mike lent me a bug. I tried it, but I wasn't doing well with it. I'm really sorry.
Well,
Thank you for pointing it out.
there are two important things though, Erez, that you have to know. First thing is the bug has to be properly aligned. Now, this is not to say that Mike's bug wasn't, because I don't know, but it's very important.
You can run it.
It's very important that the bug is properly set up so that the most important things are the dit and the da spacing should be the same. And if they're not the same, it makes, this is for someone who doesn't know how to send on a bug. For somebody who can send on a bug, it doesn't really matter the gap space. Your code might not sound perfect, but you'll be able to use it. But for somebody who doesn't use a bug or is new to a bug, the most important things are that the dit and the da gap spacing are exactly the same. Super important. The second thing that I find most people don't have set properly is the actual spacing of the gap. If you have too big a gap space, then it becomes very difficult to send on a bug. And I know most people have their gap space set very, very large on a bug. I know John UBK, he had a very large gap space on his bug, and then during one of the events I pushed the gap space real small.
Wait a minute. You messed with his key?
I messed with his key. Either that or I messed with my own key. No, actually, I think I set his key. It was the toothbrush key, the toothbrush handle.
Okay.
And
But you were trying to help him out. I know you had
good intentions, right? So I changed the gap space on his, and I know that every time I've seen him with his bug in any of the events or anything we've done, the gap space is not nearly as large as it used to be. So
yeah. Are you more comfortable now, John, with that?
I don't know. I haven't used the toothbrush bug in quite a while.
yeah,
Oh, the toothbrush.
but it's
Ah.
I wouldn't doubt that even the original that's on that board with the flameproof didn't get changed as well. I'd have to see, but yeah. So
First I set it up with an analog ohm meter.
No, it's not that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the actual gap space. How hard how far you have to push the dit and the da.
Then after I set it up with the ohm meter, then I put the spaces the same, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I find a lot of times people put the dit real close and they put the da real far, and that uneven spacing makes sending on the bug real hard. And then the second thing, like I said, is that gap space. You got to make sure the gap space isn't so wide. And then, of course, a lesson I would say if you have somebody who understands how to send on the bug and the timing, then doing an actual lesson with somebody instead of just taking it home and trying to do it on your own makes a world of difference as well. I mean,
well, I think people that start on a keyer have a harder time to learn it. Doesn't mean it's not possible, for sure, but
oh yeah,
I think they have a harder time.
yeah, definitely there is a learning curve because if you are using an iambic, then you're used to squeezing as opposed to pushing with the two fingers. Eras, do you use iambic style or do you use single paddle?
That's the only key I use.
But do you?
You actually use the method itself.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Is do you use the squeeze method or do you still go side to side?
This is my key.
Right, but when you send, it's an iambic key. But here, let me grab this. The difference is, if you're going to send, okay, if you're going to send a C, hang on, Chris, because it's going to change the video. If you're going to send a C, then on iambic mode, it's just that, dotted.
Yes.
So you use this.
I use that for CQ.
Okay.
CQ is really nice doing that.
Yeah. Very nice on iambic, yeah.
And when you're sending, do you normally do your keying like this, where you're just kind of always just...
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I only use the squeeze for CQ.
Oh, if you only use the squeeze for CQ, then you should be all right with the bug if you have a lesson on how to get used to it. Null, am I pronouncing that right? Is it Null? I always say Nail.
Yeah. It's Null.
No. I just called you by your last name so that UBK doesn't.
Most people do it. John's too common.
There you go. So John 85RX, he came over when he picked up the bug. And how long would you say you spent doing my little crash course in bug sending?
Like 30, 45 minutes, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
And with that little crash course, I'd say you went home and it started to come easier for you, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Well, still wasn't weighted properly at your house. So I came home and then I went to the hardware store and figured out how to weight it, and then I did a bunch more, and then I knew I was gonna be the work as W6SFM for the bug roundup. So I got some of the SKCC guys and said, look, I've never done a bug QSO before, right? Be kind and listen to my terrible code, right? So I got a couple of them to volunteer to be my victims, and I had a couple of QSOs before bug roundup, and that definitely helped my confidence.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So.
Did you get to hear him, Mike, at all?
Oh yeah, I talked to him. He sounded
on the air. Oh,
sounded
cool.
good. And I think David, you started the same way, didn't you? You came over and got a little crash course on the bug.
Yeah, my first bug opportunity was over at a bug roundup about 3 years ago. Yeah, and it was frightening actually, because you just have to keep at it though, and in Eras, I know that you can do it with another bug.
Yeah,
you'll get it. You'll really enjoy it. You really will.
It's different than a keyer. See, now I learned different. I started out with a bug, so I went to the keyer. I thought, okay, I'm going to learn the iambic method. That's totally divorced from the bug, so my brain never gets screwed up from the different method.
Yeah, I started with the straight key, of course, and then
way back.
But then I shortly after got an original. As a matter of fact, this one right here, if it shows up, this is my first bug that I ever got in 1980, and I went to HRO on Sepulveda Boulevard in LA, and I bought that thing, and I think I paid like $225 for it way back then. It was.
What bug was that?
It's just a Vibraplex original, deluxe, original
$20
deluxe.
in '66.
Yeah, it was, and it was $25 in 1930. So, whatever.
Oh, they came down a little bit.
Yeah, they came. Yeah,
inflation, John.
right. But The bug was pretty expensive as a kid, but I still got one. And then I picked up the bencher like you have there, Eras, and I think I used that bencher and the bug for a long time. So for me, I can switch between the iambic, and I only do the squeeze. I don't do single lever like that. And I know that Mike uses a paddle too, LQ.
Oh, Mike good at it though.
Yeah, but he uses single paddle lever paddle, and I think that because of that motion he does like this, I think he probably set the gap spaces large on the dits, because he's brought a few bugs into the club to show off, and I always notice that his dits, you push and it's like a huge swing like this on the lever. It moves over like a good quarter inch before it hits the stop. So maybe it was just an unadjusted bug that he brought in, but I've noticed it on 2 or 3 that he's showed in the club when he's come in, and I wonder if maybe that was hindering your ability, Eras. It's possible.
Not necessarily.
So, but one of the things that I do to get people sending properly on a bug is, the first thing you need to learn is the EISH5. Once you get that EISH5 in there, then you've got the timing, because all you're doing now is throwing in DAWs in between.
Yeah, that's what I did when I started out. Once you get used to the feel of it, it would rock and it's easy after that. It didn't take long.
Yeah. So about 30 minutes of doing particular patterns of EISH5 will get you where you need to be. And I'm sure, because you already can send on the key, Eras, I think that you would probably be good on a bug, and after a half an hour you'd be ready to go on the air and have a QSO. That's my opinion anyway, just
I think so.
based on your sending. So I wouldn't be intimidated by it for sure. And I know you like
Well, Mike, you are very good at motivating people. I must stipulate to that. So,
well,
okay, we'll give it a try.
Sure. I talked to more people that said, man, they haven't been on a bug in 50 years. They said it was really cool to get it back out, and they were having all kind of fun.
Yeah, and you see, I've got this half a bug here. Oh, 3/4 of a bug, almost a whole bug. I've got that one waiting for you. So when you're ready, you come by and borrow this one here. This is a nice little champion, it looks like. Or is it? Yeah, it's a champion.
Good, Charlie.
So yeah, when you're ready,
Thank you.
I've got a bug for you, and you can borrow. Oh, it's like almost there. Yeah, you can borrow that. It's out in the ocean. I'll get. Hopefully, it won't rust out there. But yeah, that's just.
Thank you for letting me play with your toys.
Yeah. So let me know when
I
you're
have
ready.
another story, if I may.
Please.
2 weeks ago, I had surgery on my neck, and one of the risks of the surgery was losing my voice. And imagine the first thought that came through my head when the doctor said that one of the risks is losing your voice. Well, most of my friends speak CW, so it's not a problem. So my voice is compromised, so I'm just doing CW, so everything is good.
Yeah, you are.
Excellent. Well, first off, we're glad to know that your surgery was successful.
Yeah.
And that you're doing well. That's most important. And secondly, yes, he knew you were a CW guy, so he was like, okay, that's a fair risk. Well, that's okay. You could lose your voice. You still got CW.
You know what happened to me? My left arm's been all screwed up for now. It's starting to get normal again, but during the bug roundup, it was really hurting bad. So I started using my right hand, and I was able to do pretty well, I thought.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but I've got tennis elbow in this arm. I think I picked something up wrong and just...
I don't know what I did either. So I'm going to get some of this icy hot, try that stuff on there and see if that helps.
Yeah, that might do it.
Shot if I can help it.
It's probably been about...
DB spray.
What's that?
The DB spray ought to do it.
Oh, do you think? Oh, maybe that's what good. Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is, John.
Could be.
Oh, maybe that's what messed you up.
You need a little more gain.
It didn't have any warnings on us, you know. It could be hazardous to your health.
I think he needs to get the ionosphere tuned up a bit.
I think we're good on that. So, with the bug roundup, I always ask you guys to, as W6SFM stations, to please send in your logs. And the reason I ask is because this. I wonder if I could. There you go. People send QSL cards in. So here's a QSL card that came in from W0EKS. And this person, let me see if he says who he talked to. It was a 15-meter QSO. So somebody talked to this person as W6SFM on 15, and I don't have him in my log. So it means that it was one of you guys.
It's W0EKS?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, so there you go.
So I guess I owe you a log.
Yeah, this is why I asked for the logs, because when people send in the QSL card, I've got to be able to answer it, and I can't give him a signal report. If you didn't write a signal report down, it's not the end of the world. But those of you who don't already know it, I have these W6SFM QSL cards. I know it's kind of hard to see, but if I hold it up here, I'm sure it's...
I can't see it real well. Hold it up better.
Let me get it right against it. Yeah. How's that, Chris? Is that better?
Oh, that's perfect.
Okay.
That's perfect.
All right.
Can't see it all.
Well, yeah. It's that clear. It's such a clear image. Chris is having a hard time seeing it. But
That's what the picture is.
yeah, just picture it. So this is, for those who haven't seen it up close, this is a picture of the Tower Bridge and the Delta Queen paddle boat. What do they call it? Steamship? Steam paddle?
River City.
So, paddle wheeler. Okay. So yeah, it's got the paddle wheel, the Delta Queen, the Tower Bridge. It's got all of downtown Sacramento in here, and of course the river. So, it's a really nice representation of Sacramento. And then, of course, Sam Morse. This is the regular logo that we have on the website that you see. And as all QSL cards, it has the place for time and band and all that. And up here in the corner, if you scan that with the QR code scanner, it brings you to our web page. So, if they want to go straight to the web page, they can just scan that. And I find that most people scan it even if they aren't looking for the web page, because they just want to know what the heck comes up when they scan it. So it's really nice. We also have these that we give away at the events that we do. It's a QSL card also, but it's just a mini QSL card in a card stock. And then on the back, it has the QR code up here in the corner. And then this just, I'll tell you what it says, since you asked. It says, the Samuel F. Morse Amateur Radio Club was originally formed by a small group of amateurs that mainly enjoyed CW. We wanted a way to bring others together who also have an interest in operating CW on air. The SFMARC is actively looking for other operators around the globe that would like to join our club. Please visit our website for more information. So, and then it gives the website address. So this is what we give out at the PR events, so that people can, right there, so that people can get in contact with us after we have an event. I also have some QSL cards here. This is from the last bug roundup. We still haven't. It's been 6 months and I didn't send them because I was actually hoping that when we got together we'd all be able to sign some QSL cards to send back to these people. KN6GFG, NI0C. He's got a nice bug on his. He's got a lightning on there. And AE7US. I think that's really familiar. Who is that? That's Rocky, right? Yeah, that's Rocky.
Yeah, that's Rocky, yeah.
And so he worked us. I owe him a card too. And he's got a picture of the bug. This is it for Era's for you. That's the bug I was trying to show you. Now that you can see it, that's the champion. And
guy, ever seen that guy with the homebrew bug, the Japanese guy?
Yeah.
CR2.
He sent an email.
I worked him.
I did too. I only worked him when I'm at KPH too.
And now this is actually kind of sad. I owe Bob KJ6CA a QSL card too. I need to get back to him with that. And then here is one. Let me make sure that's for W6SFM. It is. So here's one from JH1GTU. And I think we might have answered his. I think he's the one that gave us the $1.
Yeah, that's right. A couple years ago.
Let me see when this was. Maybe it wasn't. Yeah, June 2019. This is the one that gave us the $1. So for those who are new in the club or don't remember, this gentleman here from Japan, he worked us in the bug roundup. He sent a card, and he sent it by mail. U.S. mail, as opposed to the bureau. If you want to know what the bureau is and you don't already, just ask me. So he sent this card and he put in $1 for postage. He put $2 in for postage. And we don't charge postage to send QSL cards. The club can afford a $2 postage stamp to Japan. So we sent them back a card that the entire club signed, or everybody who was at the meeting, and I went to the bank and I got a crisp $2 bill, and I sent him back a mint condition $2 bill because I figured, in Japan he probably will never find a $2 bill. So I sent him a memento of America, returning him a club signed QSL card and a $2 bill. So I thought that was kind of nice. And so that went out. So we do owe about 3-4 people right now QSL cards. I have a stack of QSLs. I just have to fill them out, put them in envelopes, and mail them back. Like I said, generally I like the whole group to sign the QSL cards because it makes people feel good when they get a card and the entire group saw that they actually work the station and appreciate them being in the bug roundup. So in this case, unfortunately, I guess
you're going to be it.
I might be it for this time. I could forge all of your names, though, I suppose. If you know what, better yet, if you'll just send me a check, a blank check even, with your signature on it, then I'll wet the bottom of the check, and then I'll do that, like where I just take the check and I'll just kind of push it against the card. And then we'll have your signature on the card, and then I'll just
trust you, Mike.
I'll just dispose of the check. Don't worry. I'll bring them to a safe place. As a matter of fact, I'll bring them to the bank, and because they have a place I can lock them up there.
So when we come back to the next meeting in person, you can give them back to us, right?
Well,
I think if you just signed Bob, you'll be a fourth of the way there already.
Yeah, Bob or Bill or something.
Yeah, that's all you gotta do.
Or Mike.
Yeah,
Mike's a good thing.
I suppose. I do like the check idea, though. And like I said, when I'm done with it, if I find that they stay very secure when I push them under that bulletproof glass. Nobody can get to them anymore. So, and the kind lady behind the window, she always takes them for me and stores them somewhere. So, just send me a check with your signature on it, and I'll be happy. But actually, speaking of that, do try to get around to getting your dues in before January 31st anyway.
Oh, not again. We just did it.
I know.
We just did it last year.
I almost wonder with the coronavirus, do we have to pay dues? So.
No, not in this club. Yeah, we're not going to.
Yeah, we'll have to see if we owe dues with the coronavirus. I can email
They're
the
trying to come up with an excuse. You know,
I'll email the governor and find out if we can get some sort of club relief. Maybe he'll issue us a club relief check. So, um, so we'll see.
they'll get it in there. That's
Yeah.
for January 31st.
Yeah. So before January 31st, what'll end up happening? Hey, Brandon, how are you? What'll end up happening is we will start getting PayPal notices sent out. Um, I find that there were a few people in the club. I won't say a few. There was one person in the club who didn't like the fact that I sent out PayPal invoices to people. But I got to be honest with you, as I am all the time, or most of the time anyway, except when I'm lying. I find that there are many, many members. If you don't already know and you haven't visited the W6SFM members page, we actually have a page where we list all the members. If you haven't been there in a while, you'll see that we actually have 70 members, 70 active members. We do have 5 people on the SK list. They were members for a while, and we're grateful to have each and every one of them. But we do currently have 70 members, and I'm hoping that we'll keep at least 75% of them, which is typically what we do. I think last year we hit 98% renewal, which was fantastic. The year before that, I think we were closer to about 85%. But our club does do well retaining. But I will say this, getting back to what I was trying to tell you, I find that we have a lot of members that are either have the email from the club going to the spam folder and they just don't know it and they never check their spam folder, or they're ignoring their emails, because I can request them to pay their dues 10 times and I'll never see anything and they'll never respond back. But when I send the PayPal invoices out, those people who are blocking the W6SFM mail either by purpose or just on accident, those people, they get the email because it comes from PayPal, and none of the spam blockers will block email from PayPal. So they tend to see the email from PayPal and they recognize that it's an invoice from W6SFM, and it's easy for them just to click on it and say pay now. So we have a lot of members that I haven't heard from. As a matter of fact, there's at least 3 members that I know that I have not heard from in 3 years. But every year, religiously, when they get a PayPal invoice, they pay it. So,
well, that's the silent voice, right? You don't hear.
Yeah. And then every year we have somebody who signs up at Bug Roundup because they want to be included with our group because of the Bug Roundup. And then January rolls around and they don't want to pay. Sometimes they'll take the what do you call it? The prorated dues, where if you sign up in November, it used to be you could pay $4 for membership. So what would happen is they'd pay $4, and then January would come and they don't want to renew. And then come November the next year, they would sign up again for $4. So I got a lot of that, and we ended up making it now. If you sign up after August, I think August, September, and October are $10, and then after October, it's $20, and you get November, December, and all of the next year. And I think we got that cue from Phil. That was what he was telling us he was doing with the N6NA. Just, give them the extra 2 months at the end of the year and keep their membership through. And that seems to have been working out for us. So the 2 new members that signed up here, they paid the full $20 membership dues, and they're paid all the way through 2021. so we won't have to worry about that.
Well, thanks for letting me know. If you told me, I had forgotten about it. So thanks.
Yeah, and unfortunately, my entire database got deleted. So I think, Neil, you owe me for next year, this year, and the year before when you were not a member.
Yeah.
Okay. The check's in the mail.
Okay. All right.
Email.
That's that's
Small
the
nominal fee.
well, that's the blank check, right, Neil?
Yeah, you should have my signature.
Yeah, the one with your signature on it.
That's what's important.
Right. Yeah. Anybody who signed up this year, they have to pay last year too as a penalty for not being a member last year.
When are you running for governor?
Listen, let me tell you something. You think I'm making?
I got off the hook on that one, which we've been a member since the beginning. Well,
You think that I'm joking here, and I'm coming up with this stuff out of nowhere. Let me explain where this comes from. When I first started my business, the State Board of Equalization for California, they waited until the year was over to have me fill out the tax paperwork and the business licensing. And the way it worked in LA County was they charged you your taxes based on how much money your company earned. But like in Sacramento here, it's just a flat rate that they charge for a business license. But in LA, you pay by how much money you make. Well, what they did was they wait till the year is over, and then when you turn in the amount so that they know how much to charge you tax for that year, then they tell you, oh, you probably would have made that much money the year before, so now you have to pay us the tax on all that money you probably could have made. So you basically owe 2 years of taxes and licensing on there. So yeah, that's the way this club is going to work now. When you sign up for 2021, you have to pay for 2020 also.
hey, we're in Northern California. We're not from LA. Don't bring that up here.
Well, it's California law, so. But yeah, your dues will now be due for the year that you were not a member, so that, because you could have been a member. You could have been a member. So.
You've never heard about it, right? You still could have been a member.
Well, speaking of which, Chris, you owe us for the first year that you were not a member.
Oh, that's right. At least it's only 1 year.
Yeah, for you it's only 1 year. I could have let it accrue, and then.
Yeah.
Of course, there is a 10% penalty on top of that.
Oh, so that's okay.
Compounded.
Compounded, yeah. What's the compounded interest since
Daily.
2011?
19%.
19%, yeah.
Wow, that's a lot. I'm not sure I can pay that.
Don't worry. You're how old are you, Bren?
I'm 14.
14. You got a few more years to go.
Yeah.
Well, there is a youth penalty too.
Oh no, does that make it like 50?
Yes. The price goes up. The younger you are, the more it is. But don't worry, we won't ask you to.
$3.80 for the next year.
Right, but we will not ask you to pay until your 18th birthday, and then we'll take that compounded interest and add it
Well,
on.
guys,
That's going to add up fast.
I sincerely apologize for starting this train of thought.
You let your father know that that 401, or not the 401, the 592 college fund that he's got for you, that'll be going towards your club dues.
I can pay for that. I got my own stocks now.
Oh, okay.
But if you get 2 other people to join the club, you can use their dues towards yours.
Oh, that's right.
I got one, so that just leaves one more.
Yeah, there you go.
Actually, wait, no, he didn't join the club. He took the Morse code class.
That's right. So we'll give you a little bit of credit for that.
Yeah.
Instead of 50, instead of 2, let's make it 4 if I get another 3.
All right, that's fair enough. We'll knock off 5% interest.
All right.
So you're good. You're good for now.
Yeah, they're good to go.
But yeah, so.
Well, no senior discount, huh? John and I don't get a senior discount.
Oh no, you are getting the senior discount.
And we are?
Yeah.
No. I'm not gonna. What is it?
And how does that work? I'm afraid to ask.
I'm sorry, I'm going through a tunnel right now. I'll have to explain. It's a very complicated mathematical equation. I don't want to bore everybody else on here, but you're receiving that. You're receiving that
Is it as hard as 1
discount.
plus 1?
It's a little harder than that.
You know what?
Ah.
I think I'll just
Pretty
pay
hard.
the $20 and forget it.
All right, if you pay your $20, Chris, then if it doesn't take you until June to pay like before.
Oh, I did real good last year. I gave it to you in December.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you did. You were in
Here's
there.
a nice $20 bill.
Yeah, that's right. You paid cash at the meeting in December. You're right. And the year
I
before
know,
that, I
remember
think
one
we
year
only
when
waited.
When I joined the year I joined, I think I waited till May. You guys were hounding on me.
It was June.
Sign up, join up. Oh,
Yeah, it was June. And then the next year after that was
you
May.
Still got those rubber hose marks on your neck,
I know.
and your back. Yeah.
Well, Chris is the only one that didn't have email back then, so, or at least he wouldn't give it to us. So we had to hound Chris to get $20 out of him.
And then they wrote me into being a secretary. Of course, my job pretty easy now.
No, you volunteered for that.
I did.
Well, yeah.
I remembered. Oh yeah.
You
I
said
volunteered, but I did it involuntarily.
yes. You said that
Yeah.
you would do it forever too. Don't go back on your promises.
That was my phone. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's see. Does anybody have any information they wanted to share? I don't want to exclude anybody from getting any words in here. Somebody's got to have something to say. All right. Well, then I'll mention this since we're about to start this, or we are in December, aren't we? Yeah. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having a meeting today. So January is the North America QSO Party, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And the North American QSO Party event, the club does in person every year, just like we did the field day and the California QSO Party. I am going to strongly consider having the event over here as well.
Outside.
For Phil, we're going to make a special plastic tube with a fabric top over the top of the tube, and then we'll insert him into the tube. That way he can come. Your feet will come out. You'll be able to walk, but just small steps.
It'll be mobile.
Oh, you're gonna put him in a bubble. In other words.
Yeah, it's like a bubble, but it's not. It's not.
The rules.
It's like a bubble, but it's not round. It's just a tube. It'll be a tube over the top of him, and then with some sort of cloth top so that air can get into the tube. But
Considering the background you've got there, does it include Mai Tais?
I suppose we can put him on the ground, and you can lift the tube and set it on top. Good luck bending over to pick it up, though. Maybe if I make the tube large enough, your knees will bend.
Yes.
You'll be able to bend your knees down to crouch to get it. But yeah, I can make sure you get a Mai Tai or two. But in any case, yeah, same thing, 6 feet apart. Last time, if you don't know, by the way, the W6SFM website has not stopped generating information. We did add that solar report to the right-hand side of the page. So now if you want to know what the solar flux is and which bands are good to go, you'll see it on the right-hand side of the home page. I think it's also on a few other pages, but most importantly, it's on that first home page. So you just get in there and take a quick look. And for example, right now, it says, if I can get my mouse over there, right now it says that the SFI is 100, that's a solar flux. It says that the smooth sunspot number is 40, so there are 40 sunspots working. The A index is 3, the K index is 0, which means if you know what the K and the A are, basically they're measurements of noise, magnetic noise, and the K index of, or the A index of 3 means very low noise. The K index of 0 means just practically perfect conditions for signal to noise ratio. And then it tells me here that 80 through 40 is good for day and night right now. 30 meters is good for 30 through 20 is good for day and night.
Where?
And it's
Like,
where we are. And then 17 through 15, it's reporting as fair right now. So considering that pretty much up until about 3 weeks ago, everything was fair and below, poor to fair, to see that 17 meters through 15 meters right now during the nighttime is reporting as fair, that means that 15 and 17 meters are as good as the 40 meter and 20 meter bands were a month ago. So it actually means that if anybody were actually awake, you stand a chance of having a QSO with somebody on 17 and 12 and 15 meters right now. So there's some really good information there. So that's been added to the website. The other thing that's been added to the website are pictures. So if you haven't already gone over to the website, you would see that under the pictures section, we added the field day pictures, and we added pictures for the California QSO party event that we just had. So there's pictures for both, and you'll notice that what we had was a 6-foot table, and I set it up where operators on this side of the table, loggers on this side of the table. So there was a 6-foot distance for those people who wanted to keep a 6-foot distance, and anybody who wanted to wear a mask, that's fine. If you're really adamant about it, you can bring your own plastic shield and set the plastic shield in the middle of the table, or you could bring your own cone of silence, and you could pull your cone of silence down over your head, and you can operate at the radio. Of course, we had Clorox wipes, and we had hand sanitizer. So every time an operator changed position, they could wipe the radio knob, and they could wipe the paddle or the bug paddles. So very safe for anybody who is interested in doing an event. Nobody is dead that I know of in this club from coronavirus, especially nobody who attended Field Day or California QSO Party. And I believe that for Field Day we had 11 or 12 people come. I advertised it to the public, and we had 2 people show up that were non-members that came from the public. And then California QSO Party, I think we had 8 people here. David was here, John was
9,
here.
I think it's 9.
Was it 9? Okay.
So, 9.
And of those 9 people, I do not believe any of them died of coronavirus. So,
No.
Maybe it's the radio frequency kills the corona.
Yeah.
But there weren't none at QSO. There was only about, 4 or 5, maybe?
Yeah.
See, you and me were there most of the day, and then John was someplace, and he wasn't here. And so David came later, and then I think John showed up too, didn't he? Yeah, John showed up.
Yeah, Nal showed up.
Our 5-lander. John.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool. There were about 4 or 5 of us.
Yeah, there were about 4 or 5 operators, 9 people total probably. So I'm thinking that for this event, for those, if you look at the pictures, what we did was we set the table in front of the garage door, so we were still outside. And I think I may have even set up the easy up. At least for Field Day, I set the easy up so it was covering us from the sun. For the California QSO Party, I think the table was out there. It was not hot enough to worry about.
I'm afraid that it get down to 35 degrees. Remember one year when we were John, it was like 40 degrees outside.
Yeah. So I think what I'm going to do for the for the North American QSO Party, which we normally have over at Bob's place, I don't think that Bob's going to want people trampling through his house and into his shack. So we're not going to do that. We'll come through his window. You set that staircase up in front of the window behind the radio, and we'll just come in through the window. He's preparing his statement. No, so you got it. There you go.
We could run the coax out the window.
Yeah, you could actually, huh? No, I don't want to inconvenience you though, but we'll save you for some other event in the future when we're not risking your life.
He's higher.
Or your wife's.
So we want to not expose him.
So basically what I'm thinking is this time for North American QSO party, if I could work it out. We still have the same bathroom issue. The wife has got a business running, so she doesn't want anybody coming in the house for the bathroom. Although, there were a few of you that made it in, But I'm supposed to tell you can't. What I'm thinking for the North American QSO party would be to set the table up in the garage. So instead of having it outside the door, maybe we'll back it up 3 feet into the garage. We can leave the garage door open for ventilation if that makes people more comfortable. And then I have 2 space heaters, and I think that the 2 space heaters will be enough to heat that garage up. So it'll be relatively comfortable. So if anybody's interested in doing North American QSO party, Chris, do you know what the date is on that?
January 9th, I think.
January 9th? That sounds about right.
Second Saturday.
Yeah, so we'll mention it again on the first Thursday of the month for our next in-person meeting, which will again be by Zoom, and it's exactly the same login every time, so you don't have to hunt for the number if you have it written down. It should be under the calendar. Always I put the login information under the day of the meeting. If you click on that day in the calendar notes, it will give you the login information again. So if you lose it, that's where you'll find it, and that will be for January's meeting. So on the 9th, if that's when it is indeed, we'll have that over here. If I hear some people tell me they're interested, I do not want to sit in the garage for 12 hours by myself. So I would like to know that there's going to be 1 or 2 of you that will show some interest to come by. And if you're all worried, then by all means, don't sweat it. You don't have to come. I believe the North American QSO party is not like the California QSO party, where you can work it from your home station and provide your points to the club station. This is more of a individual contest, so I don't think that's an option. Let's see, what else?
You might make it like field day, though.
How so?
Well, field day, you could do it from home and tally up the QSOs.
Yeah, I think
you could
this
operate
is
from home. That's what we did.
I think
field
this
day,
is.
So they may change the rules.
Yeah,
who knows?
Maybe I'll look into it.
It would make sense.
I believe that's the
forget.
North American Contest Journal that hosts that. So I'll have to look and see what the information says. If that's possible, then yeah, you're welcome to do that. But of course, I'd rather have the participation here if possible. But again, if you're not comfortable with that, but you are comfortable to work at your own house and you want to score points for the club if it's available, then I'll let you guys know. And we'll make sure. Oh, and if you owe your back dues from the year before you were a member, you can work those dues off through contacts for the club. We'll deduct for every contact. We can.
Oh, you mean it? Oh, that's how you get your redemption, huh?
Right. That's how it will work.
I have to be sure to do that to work off some of my dues.
Yeah, exactly. So the more QSOs you make, the less years you have to pay in the rear. So, and I'm thinking honestly, because of how enthusiastic Eras is about radio in general, I think he probably could have been a member 2 or even 3 years before he joined.
I bet you could. Could have.
Yeah. So that's like
Yeah.
$60.
Oh yeah.
Are we that starved for cash in the club?
Oh man, can you imagine what we could do a few days? Whew.
Yeah. No, just points on the air. That's all.
Just points on the air, yeah.
Yeah.
It all goes in your favor, and you get a good signal now.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll look forward to Araz's 700 contacts.
Oh yeah, you'll be blazing that bug, man. I had that thing cranking.
Yeah. We'll have his fingers working. So.
Sure.
Oh, it looks like we lost Phil. I guess it was bedtime. But or his battery ran out, or he went through a tunnel. So in any case, I'm glad to see all of you here. We're just pushing up on 9 o'clock, and I'm really happy that people are interested to get on the Zoom meeting. I was a little concerned. We had 13 participants tonight, which is good.
Good. That's our usual number, about 13 to 14.
Yeah. I think we had 14 actually, because it still says 12. Phil is gone. And I looked when it said 13. Brendan hadn't joined us yet. So it's probably 14. I'm going to have to go back through the video to log everybody on the club roster. Speaking of which, I have to make a new club roster for the 2021 year so that people can sign in when we meet back in person again. So those of you who have been initialing the paper and filling in your name, you will not have to do that come 2021 if you've paid your back dues.
Does that cost extra?
No, you get... That's part of your club membership. You get to be on the piece of paper. Yeah. But we do take donations if you want to donate for that paper.
I'm going to donate $20.
I'd say 20, 25.
Yeah,
that might be a decent... That's a reasonable donation. 25, maybe 30.
I think you don't like $20. You don't like anything.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? When I go to buy paper at Costco, I can't just buy
you can't
one.
even buy paper. What are you talking about?
I can't just buy one ream of paper. I've got to get a whole box. So, I'd say a $40 donation might cover it. That's 10 reams. That's probably good enough. We can expect that from Cliff. Cliff, are you on the air at all now? Turn that mic on.
Oh.
Hang on. We'll ask him. He's looking for it.
No, really, it shuts down my neighbors.
You're still having issues, huh?
Oh no.
Yeah, but I've done some QSLs in 20 meters 2 months ago, so.
Okay, well, let's get you on the air sometime, somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's the CW that it's the problem. That's the problem.
Well,
that's where it crushes my neighbors.
No, I know. Popping breakers, I understand. Have you considered just taking an extension cord and
proximity, huh?
Maybe you can run an extension cord to their house and say I'll be on the air, so. Or you could buy your neighbors generators.
There you go.
So
switching automatically, right?
Yeah.
I think it's the one. My neighbor's the one that turned me into the city of Roseville.
Probably was.
Yeah, they turned me in.
Now your breaker doesn't pop, right?
It does on 40.
On 40 still. Interesting, because that's not even one of the bands that they said was an issue.
No, it does on 40. I think it's in a 250.250.
Oh, okay.
It does, but not on the lower channels.
Yeah, well, who's up on 250?
You belong in the CW band.
Is that even legal ham radio frequency? 240? 250? I don't.
250? I don't know.
No, I don't think. I mean, I turn my VFO, and when it hits like 100, it won't turn anymore. So.
No,
I'm talking about 7.250.
Yeah.
40 meters goes to 7.300.
Yeah, I don't know about that, because when I turn my VFO, it goes 7.70, 7.050, 080, 090, and then I hit one. It hits that 100, and then it just it won't go any farther. I don't even know how you get up there. So, is there even Is there anything up there? There can't even be anything up there. That's
like it's magic.
Yeah, that's like magic. I don't know. I think you should watch working on those frequencies way up there. That just seems really high. You should stay more on 7050 and below. That's where you need to be. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm sorry. But in any case, anybody have anything to add before we knock it off here?
I do, actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
Since I'm taking your Morse code class, I haven't been able to get much on the air because I just have these little handhelds over here.
Yeah.
Walkie-talkies, basically. I'm not able to do Morse code. However, in band class, we have to do basically we have to play notes off rhythm, and I just associated that with Morse code, so it'd be like da-da-da, da-da-da. So that made it a little easier. So it'd be like.
Excellent. Yeah, that's hey, that's what Morse code is good for as musicians. It really does. It helps with rhythm, and the rhythm that you have for music helps you with your code. So any way you can practice that.
Mike, also, I'll probably, if I am doing the North America QSO, I'll probably joining you.
Okay.
So you'll have at least me to hang out with.
All right. Yep. I'll as we get closer, I'll know what the rules are, and I'll see what we can do. I think that event is like 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. I think that's what we normally run. Does that sound right, Chris?
Yep.
Okay.
With an hour break for lunch.
With an hour break for lunch. Yeah. So.
I'll be sure to be up by like 8 then.
No. You won't see me at 8 o'clock. The garage door won't even open until 10. You'll know what time it is when the door starts rolling open.
You might be pretty careful about that.
Yeah, I'm not.
Well, I'll report out that little by little I'm getting a station together. Over the summer I put up a 4-band dipole strung between 2 pretty large pine trees where I live. And with my QRP rig, I tried to do, doggone it, too tired to think of it, in the middle of the summer, and found that I hadn't checked my SWIR before well enough before putting up the antenna, so it took me a couple more months to finally haul the antenna back down and get that taken care of. I managed to recently acquire a used K3S, which I'm pretty excited about. But now I got to figure out how to get my keyer plugged into that thing. I finally figured out mine does have this curious little appendage called a microphone.
Ooh.
And I figured out how to get it working from the front jack rather than the back jack. And after the bug thing, the bug roundup, I actually managed to get a Vibraplex Deluxe Original.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So little by little, I'm putting things together. At some point, I'm going to get a hold of you and do the tuning class and get this thing set up right and get going down the road. I've been listening to a podcast called Dit Dit, and I think the biggest thing that my biggest takeaway from it has been get on the air, fail, do it again,
That's it.
do it
Get
again,
on here.
do it again, and before you know it, you'll be down, further down the road than you anticipated. So
Yeah, absolutely. It
that's
takes
what I'm up
time.
to.
You need to get yourself one of these antenna
I
analyzers.
actually have one, but I didn't pull it out.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, because that's a lifesaver there. If you've got an antenna analyzer, at least you know what's going on with your antenna, whether have issues with reactance or resistance. And as a matter of fact, John just got himself a new antenna analyzer. John UBK, he picked up a AA230 or no, a 230 stick 230. which is a nice little antenna analyzer, which I don't have in front of me, but actually I should have at least one. Yeah, so he got one of those. Here it is. He got one of these, which is really a nice little unit. This one here goes up to 230 megahertz, and it's small. It's like the size of a hot dog, maybe a little bit. Probably a hot dog would be about 3/4 the width here, and so a little bit wider. And this thing is pretty small. If you have that analyzer that I just held up, and you compare that, you see this thing is pretty tiny. So you can put this in a go bag and go camping or wherever, or traveling, and it's got a paper display on it, so the display never turns off, and you can see it in any brightness of sun. So it's a beautiful little analyzer. And on the 15th, we're coming out with one that goes up to 600 megahertz. So same format size as this. It has a color screen, and it goes up to 600.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, guys, but we need to say goodnight.
Well, you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, Neil. Appreciate you showing up. We'll see you soon. Maybe even for that NAQSO party.
It's possible.
We'll see you at the next meeting before then.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Good night. All right. So anyhow, yeah, I just thought I'd mention that because that's something coming out, and it's only $400 for that 600 megahertz with the color display in that small size. One of the notes that I got from the guys back in Ukraine is they asked me if I wanted to sell them in khaki color. So instead of the bright blue that is, it would be khaki. And the first thing I thought was, you've got a $400 box that's the size of a hot dog, and it's the same color as rocks and dirt and tall grass, and you drop that thing on the trail as you're hiking up the mountain or you're camping, and that's the last time you see your $400 antenna analyzer in the fancy khaki color. So
no, I wouldn't do that.
No, so I've already gave them my opinion, but I don't think
They probably don't do much hiking.
Nah, they're still gonna sell it.
Trying to figure out white khaki, not like red.
No, it's the color is like beige. It's almost camouflage. It looks really cool. It looks really cool, but the reason I want that analyzer is not because I need a 600 megahertz analyzer, because if I wanted a 600 megahertz analyzer, I would use one of the full size 600 megahertz analyzers like this.
Well, wait a minute. What are you doing if you're going on a mountaintop with your 432?
Well, 600 megahertz covers 432.
Well, I know, but you got to take that nice little one with you.
Right, that's what I'm saying. If I was at home, I would use the one I'm showing the guys here on the video, which is the 1000 or the 600. But it's a full size analyzer with a good 2-inch color display. But if I'm going camping and I want to take that little tiny analyzer with me, I want to make sure that if I drop it in the dirt or it falls out of my back pocket on a trail, that as I come back down the trail, I can see a big bright blue thing sitting on the ground that doesn't match anything. It's like gloves that you wear when you're working on food. If you've ever noticed, service gloves for the restaurant industry are all blue. And the reason that's the case is because there's no natural food, no vegetable or any food substance that is blue in color like those.
Oh, wait a minute, I'm going to be a white guy. How about blueberries?
No, they're actually more of a purplish color.
Purple.
Yeah.
So
Misnamed them. Somebody misnamed them.
They did. They couldn't call them purple berries. But in any case, the reason it's that way is because if you cut your finger off and it falls in the food, as long as it's still in that glove, you should easily be able to see your fingertip inside the food.
Yeah, put that together.
So that's the reason why the food service gloves are blue, because they match nothing that we have that's food, because no natural food is blue.
Now those gloves are made of nitrile. The other gloves that are yellow are made with latex, and some people are allergic to latex.
That's correct. Right. That's also true. That's also true.
How about bluefin tuna?
Do they use the blue gloves in the medical industry?
Generally, we use blue. We prefer to use those because of the latex allergies.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
I always thought they were all latex. I'm not gonna lie.
No, not the blue ones. They are latex free. But they also, the one thing that I would be concerned about, a lot of them come powdered. They have some sort of talcum powder or something on them. And I think that you almost have to wash the gloves before you use them for food anyway. But yeah, and then if you cut yourself, of course, it's easier to see blood gushing out of your hand in a blue glove than it is in a yellow one, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. But if you've got scalpel problems, you're going to have problems anyway. If you can't cut that incision open without actually taking your finger off at the same time, then there's other issues that you've got. But yeah, so it just goes back to what I was saying. The blue analyzer makes sense. You drop it. At least if you're coming back down the trail, you could say, "Oh heck, I didn't even realize I dropped my tiny analyzer on the ground," and there it is. Otherwise, you would just step on it like a rock. It would blend right in. And they have these pictures of it out in the forest and stuff, and it's like almost camouflage.
The guy send it back to you to fix, right?
Well, they can if they find it. I think it would be. The next person walking up the trail finds your $400 analyzer on the ground. Not that they'll know what it's for, but it'll show up on eBay, and then I'll fix it for whoever bought it on eBay for $50. So look for your.
They'll probably give it to some kid and think it's a toy.
Yeah, it's a video game. It's a handheld video game.
This is what this guy used to play with back in the '80s, kids.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. It kind of has that look with the paper display. It's like an e-reader. If you've ever seen like a Kindle e-reader where the screen never turns off, they called it paper ink. So yeah, it's an interesting design. Let's see. I think who else had that? Cliff had one of those too. He doesn't own it anymore, but he went to the 230 Zoom, which I think was a better choice for him. So, but yeah, if you have an older analyzer, Bob, then you may consider getting something like that. I'm talking to you, MDP, not you, PGQ. You got a plenty fine analyzer. So, talk to me about that if you're interested in upgrading your analyzer if you don't already have one. Make sure we get you a decent price.
Okay, trade in.
So, all right. Anybody else? Feel free to add whatever you want to add. Somebody want to sing the Star Spangled Banner?
I got a coil on the end of my end-fed this past weekend, so now I can work 80. So I want to try and check into the net next week, hopefully.
What did you do to put the coil on? Did you just loop wire and attach it to the end, or is it an actual coil?
Yeah, I just bought magnet wire and wrapped it around PVC and.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you just found what, a 4-inch PVC and.
I think I used 2-inch or something and found some calculator online and.
Right.
I got a little meter here, so I just kept winding it and unwinding it until I got what I wanted, and it seemed to work okay.
All right.
Did you tune it by inductance or did you tune it by SWR?
I tuned it by, so I found the instructions for if you have this particular meter or antenna, you can add this much inductance and this much stub and then tune it, based on that. And so I did that and then cut it based on SWR.
Oh, okay.
From the rig expert.
And what did you come up with as far as SWR?
So it's narrow, right? It's got a real sharp dip.
Yeah.
And I think it's at like 1.6 or 1.7, something like that, and across. I forget. It's usable. It's maybe a few hundred kilohertz. something like that.
Oh well, that's a lot if you're getting that. I mean, normally 25 kilohertz is about what you get.
However, the that coil is.
I want to say it's under 2 for about 300-400 kilohertz. Something like
that's huge. That's actually
a bunch. Yeah,
that's
a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, then I might be just wrong. I might be misremembering this. So.
Did the coil get warm?
I don't know.
Well, have your wife.
It's out above the garage. I can't put my hand on it.
Well, climb up there. Have your wife key down, and then you just
have her key down.
And
you
touch.
Make sure. Yeah, don't touch her when she's transmitting.
No. You want her to be transmitting so you can feel if it's hot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
How
warm it is. Huh?
Do this. Lick your fingers like that, and then.
Yeah.
Because that way you'll know for sure. Or you could just go to the end of the antenna and just grab the end of the wire. You can do that. Yeah. Just,
all right. But,
I'm never going to believe anything you guys say.
Charlotte's small. I'm just going to.
Trying to catch on.
No, I'm totally serious. He'll know if it's working if he puts his fingers on the end of the wire there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Well, true. Well, get on next week. See, we hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see.
If I check in, you'll know it's working. So.
Yeah, well, listen,
I make QSOs on it, so it's not totally dead in the water.
Don't be worried if we don't hear you, because with the solar flux going up as high as it's going, the bands are going to be long, and they may be hearing you in Ohio when we can't hear you here in Carmichael.
No.
So that.
Oh yeah, that's the way it was the other day. It was long.
Yeah, so that's really normal. Just because we can't hear you around the corner. When the bands are good, once in a while, I'll be talking to John UBK, and he lives maybe 2 miles away, and I can't even hear him. Or sometimes Chris sounds like Long Path. He's like a woe and flutter in the background, and I could barely understand his, I don't know if it's his poor sending or if it's his.
Yeah. Jittery bug.
It's one of the two.
Yeah, so I'm looking actually at my notes now. So it's under 2 to 1 for about 55 kilohertz.
That sounds more like it.
Okay, you're good.
Yeah, that's actually still pretty broad. About 25 kilohertz is standard on a trap vertical.
Better than 250.
Yeah. So yeah, you're doing fine, and that also means your radio will be able to tune it as well. Did you check to see if it was resonant or just a low SWR?
I did. You guys doubled. What did you say, Mike?
I said, did you check to make sure it was resonant, or did you just check for low SWR?
I believe it's pretty resonant. It's not like pretty perfect or anything. It's not nice and perfect, but that's where it is on the horizontal line on the Smith chart, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so it's not on that line, but it's closer to it than it is far away. Let's say.
All right. Yeah, if you go to number 5 on the analyzer, you'll see resistance reactance. And the blue line is the reactance. You want that closest to center 0 as possible.
Okay.
So and if you're below the line, the antenna's too short. You're above the line, antenna's too long. And if you're more than about 50J above the line or 50J below the line, then you're starting to get too far out of resonance. So you can actually fine-tune it. Remember, you don't need to have a perfect SWR, but you do want perfect resonance.
Got to be resonant.
Yeah, because if you're not, then even though your SWR is low, your radio will like it, but when you transmit, none of the energy will leave the antenna.
Okay. So plus or minus 50J is where you want to be?
For that kind of antenna. If it were a little more tunable antenna, that's a full wavelength or half wavelength, I would say stay under 25. But 50 should be fine, considering it's a compromised addition to the antenna.
Right. Okay.
And then how did it affect the rest of the bands?
It pushed everything up a little bit, but everything still seemed. I think so. My 40 and 20 are still very usable. It moved them up just a little bit, and 15 and 10 more so, but I've still made QSOs on those since. So have I made on 10? I may not have made a 10 since, but I definitely made a 15 meter QSO since. So.
Right. So probably what happened is the harmonic resonance is no longer as low as it was before. So your antenna SWR you probably have close to 45 ohms down at the low end where it's tuning to the 2-to-1, but you have high reactance on the or you have capacitive reactance on the antenna where it's got a better SWR. So what's going on is you're seeing a decent SWR because you're not too far away from impedance, but your reactance is probably way up the band. And because your reactance is far up the band, the harmonics are all going to be double of that. So your 40 meters, where it may have been 7050, will now be 7075 or 100.
Right.
So that's where that resonance also makes a big deal too. You want to make sure your resonance is close to the frequency you're trying to operate, and not worry so much about the resistance. Because with your antenna, you can... with your antenna, if you have high resistance, you can tilt the ends down on the antenna like a V, inverted V, and it will lower the resistance. So you can tune the length of the antenna on the coil to the proper resonance that you get in the spot you want. And then if your resistance is off, you could then mess with the height of the ends of the antenna to adjust the resistance.
I see.
So you can get the reactance, perfect resonant, zero reactance, capacitive or inductive, and you can adjust the resistance in. So I typically start with getting the frequency tuned first, and then I start messing with the resistance.
Okay.
And another thing,
that's good.
If you don't have the ability to bend the ends down on the antenna because you have two 35-foot poles, for example, and the wires spanning between the two 35-foot poles, you can also change the center feed point of the antenna, and by moving it on an off-center fed antenna feed point, the impedance will be raised. So if you have low resistance, you can just move one side longer than the other, and then the resistance will come up, and then you tune the coil to get the frequency back to where you want it.
I see.
Lots of antenna theory.
So anyway, I got stuff to play with, but hopefully I'll be on the net next week.
Yeah, I mean, we should hear you either way for short path. You're what, Midtown?
Yeah, ish.
Yeah.
East Sac.
You're right on the fabulous 40s, aren't you?
That's right.
Yeah.
All the Christmas lights are in full swing.
I knew it.
Got all kinds of noise. Oh boy.
Yeah.
I knew you were right there. You're in one of those little McMansions.
Yep.
Yeah.
So earlier you were talking about sunspots being up and 12, 15, and 17 going to be becoming a lot more active. I'm curious as to what antennas folks are using for those bands. So I've got 80, 40, 20, and 10. I've been I'd like to noodle around for a while. Is there...
Well, you have a fan dipole, right?
I do.
You can load up
I could just add more fans to it, I guess.
Either that, or you could load any of those up. Are you feeding with coax, or are you feeding with the...
I'm feeding with coax, yeah.
Yeah, so you'll have a little bit of a loss, but you do have a harmonic in there for 17, so you could get a full wave 17 meter antenna out of one part of that fan without having to build a whole new fan antenna for it.
17, it didn't take a whole lot.
Bob, I think you locked up. Move your head. Nope. I think Bob got locked up. He's either lost his internet or he fell asleep in that position and he cannot move any longer.
John?
So, PGQ, you got a wave, because I think that you're... Okay, good. You're still alive. I just wanted to make sure. Well, okay, maybe you're not alive, but you're still there. You're not frozen. All right, good. Was that a racist thing you just threw up there?
I can't tell half the time with my dad.
Yeah, right. He's so I hear you guys are moving, and your dad said he's setting up both the tubular tower and the self-supporting 100-foot tower.
Yeah. I'm imagining you're talking about the big tower on the trailer.
Yeah.
I talked to him. He said he wasn't sure if he was going to bring it, but I'm glad to hear that he is. I only know of the one tower, though. I don't know what other tower you're talking about.
He has a tube tower, and then he has the giant one that was
yeah,
sitting...
my dad's a him. Oh. Not an active one, but he has a license. He used to use it for search and rescue, if I remember right.
Yeah, he's a member of our club as well.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, K9JPJ. So,
I know.
Yeah, he used to cook for us at the field day.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he has a tubular tower, which is just literally that. It's a tube. And then he has the, tubular. Then he has the big crank-up tower that's the triangle. Is the triangle one's
the big, more traditional, like, antenna tower kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the one on the trailer, I believe.
Yeah.
Although the tube may just be stuck on the trailer and you can't tell that it's another tower.
Well, there is a tube. I wouldn't imagine it would be what you're talking about, though.
I think it's like 30 or 40 feet. That's all. But
the big antennas.
Yeah.
I heard was 40 feet.
Or like a MA40 or whatever.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I've only gotten a ham like 8 months ago, ish. The tower's about 10 years old.
Yeah. But he has that crank up traditional tower. I think that thing's about 80 feet tall.
Oh, there you go, Mike. Put that in your front yard.
Yeah, and I'd love to. I have a spot for it. The only problem is you would no longer be able to enter the backyard.
Yeah. Actually, I remember 2 years ago, I think, was it? When I was saying that we could bring the old Unimog and put the big crank-up tower on the back of the Unimog.
Yeah, you could. That would work. And then since it just gets parked in the backyard forever, you might as well just leave it there. Did he sell that thing, or did he bring it over to the house?
I don't know. We're still in the old house, but we still have we still have the big one in the back.
No, I mean the Unimog.
Oh, yeah, we still have the Unimog. It's over here.
Oh, it is? Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if he brought that in. I mean, that's like a Snowcat, that thing. What?
He sold the Snowcat.
He did sell the Snowcat, okay.
Yeah, it's been gone for like a year or 3. I don't remember.
Yeah, I know. It's been a while. So,
That was cool, though. That thing was cool.
Well, so there's enough for one tower for each of you. Let him know. He can turn that little shed in the back. Have you been over to the new house?
No, I've seen pictures, though. I'm supposed to go tomorrow, I think, or over the weekend or something.
Yeah, there's a shed in the back. You can tell him that he can turn that into a full radio room.
I was thinking of a similar thing, actually.
Yeah.
Well, or we have, like, an extra bedroom, I think, or, like, an office as well.
It's gotta be. That's like a 5-bedroom house. It's huge.
5-bedroom, it's 5 by a technicality. It would be 6, but one of the rooms is missing a closet.
Oh, there you go. So, yeah, they can't count it as a... But that would make a great ham shack. You don't need a closet for a ham shack.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
I had a ham shack like that once. It was great.
Bob, what is that oddball-looking thing that's hanging next to your head there? I don't recognize that.
Oh, that's a fancy mic.
That I don't know what that is. Is that some sort of?
It's the cat's toy.
Oh, it's a scratch toy. Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe it was some sort of newfangled key.
No, it's the cat really likes that, and real honestly, it's true.
I bet.
Every time I turn the radio on, if the door's not closed, she hears the static in the back and comes running and jumps on my lap, and then jumps on the operating table. And the other cat just loves to jump up and go wander around in the back and step on all the wires.
Yeah.
Which is not good.
No.
Yeah, I had this musician I used to work with, and his studio, the people who installed the studio for him, he had like something like 800 or 900 patch points on his patch bay, and the room was just filled with equipment. He was a composer, and I remember that in order to work on anything in the racks, you have to step behind the racks, and the cables were stacked like 3 feet high. There were so many cables; they were like 3 feet high. And you couldn't step back there to work on anything without disconnecting, 25 different things that you had no idea you disconnected until he'd call you back out again to say, hey, my vocoder's not working anymore.
Oh, man.
It was a nightmare. So I'm sure with your cables back there, it's the same thing. All of a sudden your bug stops working, and you just have to use that paddle instead, right?
Yeah, the last one was the pan adapter quit.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of pan adapters, show of hands here, how many people have ordered K4s?
I don't know what that is.
Bob, what's going on?
Not yet.
I pre-ordered mine. I'm in section 3. I didn't pay.
Oh, your K4?
Yeah.
Well, my extra income quit in March.
Oops.
Well, you know what?
Because of COVID?
Yep.
The Senate is, well, wait a minute. Then you should be on unemployment.
They don't think it that way.
Oh, wait a minute. Look at all the prisoners get unemployment.
Good night, Carol.
Yeah, well, I didn't figure it out early enough.
Oh. Yeah, my sister trying to get it for her being out of work from the hair cutting business, and they're giving her all, you can't qualify. Now they're calling her all the time now to come down and we'll sign you right up.
Yeah, I think that you would be fine, Bob, if you filled out the paperwork.
Worth a shot.
I mean, you had an income, and you no longer have an income.
That's true. Except I'm getting a pension, so I don't know if they count that or not.
Nope. Just like Social Security, they don't count your pension.
I know a guy that got unemployment. He hasn't worked. He still works, but he said he hasn't worked in 5 years, and he's getting it. So,
now that's a spectrum analyzer. Carol, you have to say something, otherwise your camera won't go on for those who are looking at speaker view.
Yeah, that's a spectrum analyzer. This is a Siglent.
Get a big one?
Yeah, it's a big one.
Hewlett Packard?
No, Siglent.
Oh.
It's one of those Chinese companies.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot cheaper.
This is over $1,000. This one.
Well, HP's are about 20.
Yeah.
Now?
Yeah, they're about 12,000 now.
Much more than that.
But no, that's nice. I can see I can even see how the traces are tracking, and it looks really good.
Cool.
I'm actually monitoring the UHF TV spectrum here. That shows you all the TV channels. That's what I'm monitoring right now. So it's going from 470 up to 620 megahertz there.
What's the bandpass on that?
I mean, how high does it go? It goes up to 2 gigahertz.
And then goes down to what, 10 kilohertz?
Yeah, it's around that. It goes really low.
Okay.
What made you buy that?
Say again?
Why did you buy that?
Because I was working on filters and also interested in checking the spectral purity of some transmitters I was building.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, this works very well. Yeah, Brendan had a question. What's a pan adapter? Well, pan adapter is a ham rig. Well, this could qualify as a pan adapter.
Technically.
Most ham rigs that have a spectrum scope, you'll actually see the portion of or you can see the whole ham band, and you see all the stations show up as little pips there on where the frequencies are.
Yeah, a pan adapter typically measures intermediate frequency. It's an IF measurement out of the mixer, whereas that there is more than the IF. That's all the RF that's being after the mixer circuit. So hers is funner. Pan adapter is nice to have because it lets you see all the people that are on a particular frequency. Typically speaking, though, an IF won't be wider than 250 kilohertz, though. So, whereas Carol can look at what's your maximum bandwidth? Can you scan the entire band?
I can scan the entire 2 gigahertz.
You can. Okay. I mean, I imagine it would be incredibly hard to read anything, but you have the ability. So Carol can see 2 gigahertz wide, whereas on a pan adapter, typically the IF would be 250 megahertz wide, and at most, and you can see one ham band at a time, or in some cases, what the SDR radios, you probably can only see about 250 kilohertz wide, which would be one portion of most of the ham bands. So hers is funner, like I said. She
well, the
beats
Flex
it.
radios, the Flex radios, you can, I think you can monitor the entire HF spectrum with the new Flex radios.
Yeah, they're using, I forget what it's called, a flip or something like that. I can't remember. There's a different method of sampling where they're able to sample across a wider bandpass. The K4 is doing that now too, I believe. Same concept. Using a different algorithm, but the same concept. So I really think that Eras is going to need to get a K4 too. It's time to upgrade that 7300, put it in your car, and just leave it there. I know you like your mobile operations.
So Mobile, that's a trip.
This would give you an opportunity to have a K4 as a home station, and then the 7300, you don't have to keep unplugging everything every time you want to go into Folsom Lake. It's just always there.
Actually, I also have a 7100 which I take to Folsom Lake. It's working fine.
Yeah, but wouldn't you like to replace it with the 7300 and have all your DSP, and then you can just put the K4 in the house?
Sure, if you want to gift me a K4, I'll be very glad to take it.
Well, they're going to get really cheap. I mean, you can give them for $1,500.
No. That's the KX3.
No.
The K4 is.
I mean, the K. I'm thinking of the. I'm sorry, Mike. I'm thinking of the K3. Sorry. Yeah, the K4 is going to run you a few bucks, but it's only money.
If you call $5,000 a few bucks, yeah. The K3, I would say that the K3S is probably going to have 60% value, if not more.
I'd say so. Yeah.
And that would put a K3 that's fully loaded with sub-receiver, general coverage receiver. I'm not even consider the DVR, but let's just say it has it, and you have filters in there. That'll still probably cost about $3,000 or $3,500 if somebody wants to buy it used. You're not going to see those things going below $3,000 unless it's
it's fully loaded.
Yeah.
But how many people have fully loaded K3s? I don't know too many.
I would say most people who have a K3 have fairly loaded. I wouldn't say fully loaded.
Okay, I'll go with that. Yeah.
Because most of the guys are enthusiasts and they can afford it.
Right.
That's really what it comes down to. The only people that I
Yeah.
think the people that don't have the loaded versions of the K3 are going to be those who operate only sideband, because they don't know what they're missing. They don't need quite the same features. And when you think about it, if you go much lower than a 1.8 kilohertz filter, everything is so narrow sounding anyway. It doesn't. You only need two filters.
SSB junk.
What's your narrowest filter, Bob?
I don't know. It's not very narrow. Mine was just basic. It was what I could afford when it came into the house.
Yeah. So you have a 2.2 or a 2.8.
Probably whatever the standard filter is.
Yeah, it is. Do you have the 5-pole or the 8-pole? Do you know?
I think it's 5.
Yeah, so you probably have a 2.8 kilohertz, 5 or 8-pole, or a 5-pole rather.
Anyway, I'm gonna save my pennies and get a K4.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Instead of rebuilding this thing, probably I'll give it to my kid.
Well, that's what you need to get on unemployment for. You'll have that thing paid off in 6 months.
There you go.
Cool.
I mean, you are unemployed.
Yep.
So. That's what you need to do. John's getting the HG version.
Work, right?
Huh? What'd you say, Chris?
I said when COVID is over and they get the shots, the vaccination, they're going to go back to work?
Of course he is. You can't stop Bob, or you can't stop Bob from fiddling.
That's true.
Oh, okay.
Man's got a fiddle.
Fiddling around is what I do.
That's right.
Okay.
Just for John, he plays the violin.
Where's John anyway? Did he sleep?
No, that John, he left a while ago.
UBK?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know he left.
Guys, I'm taking off.
All right, Carol. Good night. Thank you for
Carol.
sticking it out.
Have a wonderful evening.
Appreciate you coming out.
Good night. Yeah, I guess I better go too.
Got to do what you got to do, Chris. I know there's radioing to be done out there.
I sent you my log, so you got it now.
Did you just email it?
Yeah, about an hour ago.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Hour and a half.
Yeah, I did as well, so you should have mine too.
Okay, good. Yeah, I do need it for that QSL card to go back out.
I was working on it today, and I forgot I had stuff in lowercase, stuff in uppercase, so I fixed all that. So
yeah,
it's all uppercase now.
How about a K3, Eras? Would you buy a K3?
I think I have all the radios I need right now.
Wrong answer.
I'm thinking about it. I'm giving a lot of thought to it.
A K3?
Yeah.
Well, I guess, it's...
I've used them enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know what it does. And last few days was a real good test with all the noise you had over there. Man, I just cleaned that up.
Oh, yeah, there's just no comparing.
I mean, I said, this is it.
When I had the FT2000, which was at the time it just had come out, and I had a friend, he buys everything, so I called him up on the phone and I said to him, hey, Pete, I want to test a K4. Can you send me a K4? And he says, oh yeah. I haven't put it together yet, but I'll send you the kit and you can put it together and use it.
K3, don't you?
So, yeah, he packed it up and he shipped it up to me and I put it together and then I called him and I said, it's really nice, and I put it on top of the FT2000, and the very first day that I had K3 working, I A-B'd the FT2000 Yaesu, and I turned on the noise reducer on the FT2000, and then I turned on the noise reducer on the K3, and that was it. I turned off the FT2000.
I never anything like it.
I turned off the FT2000 and I put it on QTH.com and sold it that day. I mean, it was like...
Well, they came out with the D model. Sure, the 2000 really lasted all that long.
Not on the 2000. I don't think there was a D.
No, they came out with the D model. Now, I don't know how much better it was. But
actually, I think I had a 2000D. I think you're right. It was a 200 watt.
Yeah, they make it 200. But that was a later... It's a 200 watt radio, correct?
Yeah, and it was not even a comparison with the K3. I'm not even joking. I turned on the noise reducer, and it was like, okay, and I had the pan adapter with the FT2000, and I had the matching speaker and the matching power supply. I had the whole station, because I'd been saving, since I was 13. And then I turned that K4 or the K3 on, and I literally just turned off the FT2000 and went right to the computer and put it in QTH. And a guy in Alaska, of all places, bought it. And he bought the power supply, the speaker, the pan adapter, and the radio. And I shipped that whole thing up in the boxes. And I think it was like, God, I don't remember what he paid. It was something like $300 in shipping to get it there.
Oh, yeah.
And he paid the same price that I paid for it. I don't know why he didn't just go buy a brand new one. I guess he figured maybe the shipping would have been more because the ham radio stores have a premium shipping price.
I thought if you bought over $100 or whatever ground shipping was free.
Not to Alaska. No, Hawaii and Alaska, they don't give you free shipping.
Alaska, that's everything up.
Yeah. Some guy in Alaska bought an analyzer today, and he...
did he get the blue one, or did he get the...
No, he got an A35, so he got the lowest model. Yeah. But he got it because I gave him 2-day priority mail for $9.99, and I checked at all the other vendors, and every vendor... The lowest price I found was $17.80 shipping. and their price was already $15 higher than mine was. So, yeah, the guys in Hawaii and Alaska, they're just used to paying extra for shipping.
Oh, they don't have any choice.
Right,
It's
they don't have any
expensive on
choice.
places, you know.
So, I get that all the time. But back to the facts, though. Eras needs to get a K3 or a K. I mean, if he doesn't get a K4, he needs at least a K3. I mean, that 7300 is a nice radio if you use that RF.
So, what
gain.
did you think of the DSP and the 7300?
I think
nice.
that
I really don't have a good comparison. It's my
Mike, you played with it,
radio
right?
in 40 years.
Yeah.
I think that
nice.
based on using the 7300, I've used it like 3 times now. Based on using it the 3 times, I think that the DSP is about 70 to 75% of what the Elecraft is if you use the noise reduction properly. Meaning you can't just turn on the DSP. You have to know how to adjust the RF gain and the noise blanker.
Here's the thing, though, Mike. Now tell me, because I may be wrong, but as far as I know, are the Japanese DSPs, are they all tied into the AGC circuit? If that's the case, the RF gain won't make much difference.
No, it does. It's after the RF gain.
Now, I know on the K3 it definitely makes a difference, because it's not tied into the AGC.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, it's you can run the RF gain on the 7300 and still work the DSP properly. So the way you do it, Eras, if you have a 7300, don't you, Eras?
Sorry?
You have the 7300 in the house, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So the way I would do it, if you're not already, is you look at the noise floor. So say the noise floor is like an S5. On your radio, when you turn the RF gain down, instead of the needle going up to match the noise floor, it lowers the noise floor down. So it starts disappearing. So what I would do is if you have an S5 noise floor, turn the RF gain down until the meter, let's see how I can see my hand, till the meter goes all the way to nothing. So when you see nothing on the meter at all, even though you think you've blocked everything because you've just brought it to 0, that's where the RF gain needs to be set. So now you've cut out all of the signal to noise ratio, and when you turn on the DSP, then it has no signal to noise that it has to deal with. It's only dealing with the frequent or the mixer underneath it. So
that makes sense.
even
most radios go the S meter, when you turn the RF gain down, the S meter goes up.
That's right. So what happens is, even though you can't see the signals, you can have an S2 signal in an S5 noise floor, but if you bring the noise floor all the way down to 0 and then you turn on the DSP, you will enhance signals that are in an S2 and it will bring them up to sound like an S5. And if you do that...
Okay.
What's that?
I should try it, okay?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So find a spot where nobody's transmitting, bring the RF gain down till it bubbles out to just about 0. You know, and if you're scared to go that low, you can always have it bubble 1 bar, but I would put it all the way to 0, to be honest. And then turn on the noise reducer. But don't turn on the DSP noise reducer until after you've brought the RF gain down. So if you haven't brought the RF gain down, turn off the noise reducer.
Yeah, but like I said, the S meter has to be able to go down, because most S meters and most ratings that I'm familiar with, the S meter goes up when you turn the RF gain down.
Yeah, well the problem here is...
So I like that approach. It should go down.
Right.
I get the idea is, normally I get to, the threshold would be, is say you turn it down to S9, where supposedly you have a signal S9, and you're here to signal that's S9 and not anything below it.
Well, that's not true, though. Idea. It doesn't really work like that, because the AGC
I know
is
it
going
does,
to do it.
But that's what the meter does, the S meters.
That's correct. The S meter does that. But if you... Once you get the RF gain down to 0, Eras, and then you turn on the noise reducer, the algorithm is created at that point. So the problem with having the noise reducer on, or the DSP on, as you lower the RF gain, is the algorithm has been built for all noise. And then when you turn the RF gain down, the algorithm doesn't match the noise that you have. So
you got to turn off the noise reduction, turn it back on.
That's right. So you turn it off and then turn it off,
yeah.
turn it back on after the RF gain has been reduced. And you'll get to almost a zero noise level. Your noise reducer, all of a sudden, you're going to be like, oh, wow, what a difference this makes. It's really reducing the noise. So you'll hear no static, and it'll be all signal in the background. And even if you have an S2 signal and you had an S5 noise floor and you drop that noise floor to 0, you're still going to hear the S2 signal in there. He may not show up on the meter, but I promise you, you'll hear him in there, especially with the noise reducer on. And then the second thing to do is when you're doing the DSP in heavy algorithms, like I'm assuming you have like 1 through 10 on that radio probably, where you can choose which noise reducer. Always go to the lowest noise reducer that solves the noise. You don't want to have more DSP than you need.
Sure.
But the thing is, when you have a weak signal like that, you can reduce the noise reducer down. But if you need a little more noise reduction, then what you should do is you increase the noise reduction in the DSP algorithm. You should widen the passband filter, because it works better when it isn't functioning in a brick wall where you've squeezed the narrow bandpass so tight that the DSP now has nothing to work with, because all of the DSP is working with is within 200 hertz. It's just too small an area. So what you want to do is, if you're going up to like 8, 9, 10 in that algorithm area of the noise reducer, after you lower your noise or your RF gain, turn on the noise reducer, find the one that knocks out the sound. You can start at 10 and then back until you get, and you got to wait like a second between each one, because it has to rebuild the whole algorithm again. And then once you're sure that you're on the right one, turn off the noise reducer and turn it back on, and that'll reset the algorithm. And then you can open your bandpass, and if you have your bandpass open like 400, 500 hertz, it'll have better sampling for the algorithm, and then it'll block more noise. Now, I don't know that the 7300 you could ever get the noise blanker to work properly, to be honest. It just, I don't know why, but Japanese noise blankers.
The CW signal itself is a very narrow bandwidth. Why do you want to open your bandwidth wider than the signal?
Because the DSP noise reducer is having difficulty creating an algorithm that works with such a narrow bandpass.
You did twice, isn't it twice the sampling rate and the minimum? Say, like if you're at 500 hertz, you need that's going to be at least 1,000, hertz, so it can sample.
No, right? You could go as, you could have a.
Well, I guess you could do it at 400.
Well, you could do it. You could do it at 50 if you really wanted, but the problem is, it becomes narrow. So here.
Well, yeah, right, of course.
If I turn off my noise reducer and my noise blanker. Okay. Now, if I just turn, this has got really no noise. Let me go down to 80. Alright, so here's 80. If I just turn on my noise reducer, see, it tries to build, but there's still noise. So that's without, that's with.
You can hear that.
Off, on. Alright. So now, if I do the principle that I was saying, I bring my noise reducer down to cover the noise, and then I turn on my noise reducer, it's just gone.
Yeah.
But if I go up the band here to where there's a person, listen, there's nothing. You hear nothing, right?
Right.
Okay, so here we go. You see, so they pop out of nowhere. And again, there's the algorithm and zero noise. So if I drive into that guy again, it's all signal, no noise. Now, if I narrow the filter...
Okay, turn it off.
If I narrow the filter, then what happens is you hear the swimming in the background. You hear...
Yeah.
Like that. But if I open the filter up to, say, 500, and then I rebuild the algorithm, I have only pure signal. And when I move away from him...
Okay, now, take it all out now. Let's hear the signal without any DSP.
Oh, without any DSP?
See, that's what I mean, Mike. That thing works.
You know, it's over... Yeah. The problem is, on the computer, it's hard to hear the noise with the signal. He's also pretty loud. But if I narrow him without the DSP, that's okay. So there's... I've narrowed him down to 50 hertz. Yeah. But you still hear the noise in the background.
Right.
But if I want to get rid of that, what I can do is I can turn on the noise reducer without lowering the RF gain, and it makes a slight difference. There's still the swimming. But if I then turn off the noise reducer and I lower the RF gain, and then I widen the filter, and then I turn on the noise reducer, it's all signal, no noise, no swimming.
Correct.
And
yeah. See, I
very convincing demonstration. Yes.
What's that?
Very convincing demonstration. Thank you.
It can be. And I know that your radio is capable of about 75% of that, at least. Meaning your noise reduction may not be quite as dramatic, but it will work much better that way. But I've also noticed that when you don't turn the RF gain down and you don't let the algorithm rebuild itself, then you can't get rid of the noise at all. Like mine, this is the difference between the two radios. With mine, if I have noise and I turn on the noise reducer, even with the RF gain up, it's such a good algorithm, the way Lyle wrote it, it'll still take rid of the noise, but not all of it. So that's without, and that's with. Clearly there's noise, but it really tamed it. Off, on. But with that RF gain, doing that RF gain, where there's still noise, you can hear it, and then I turn it on, the noise reducer, it's just zero. It's nothing. It's gone. But again, signal's still there, if he was transmitting still. Here's a weak signal.
That's AC6YY.
So that guy there is an S3, and I have my noise reducer up to S7. So he's underneath all of the noise. So now the other thing with this radio, like I was saying, that I don't know why the Japanese can't do it, but for example, the noise blanker. When I turn on my noise blanker, you can actually it's not a noise reducer like a DSP, but the noise blanker, when you turn it on, it drops by 2 S units, and I can of course adjust it until I find one of the algorithms that works. Let's see. That's not bad. I mean, it's not great, but so if you saw the pan adapter, it would be obvious, because what you see on the pan adapter is I have the waterfall display on, so you see the waterfall coming down and it's all hash, and then when I turn on the noise reducer, all the hash gets cleared out. So it's taking away the crackly sound. It's not taking the noise away like the static, but but it's reducing how crackly it is. So here's on, there's off. It's very subtle, but it's there. And in some occasions, it could be like super obvious. Let's see, I'll go to narrow 3 with like maybe a 1.7. Okay, so here's noise blanker on and off. Listen to the crackliness. Smooths it out. Off, on, off, on. So it's hard to hear over the computer, I'm sure, but most important though, like I said, is what the RF gain and the noise reducer. It's just like night and day. There's no. But again, you can achieve that on a 7300 for the most part. When you get down to the 80 meter band, the algorithm starts falling apart a little. But for 20 meter noise and 17 meter noise, it's just as good as the K3, I think, when it comes to noise reduction. If you follow the principles that I told you.
Well, there are different kind of noises up there, band too.
Right. Well, that's what it is. That's what I'm saying. It falls apart when you get into the noise levels up in the high parts of the, when you get down to the low stuff, it starts falling apart because it just can't keep up with it anymore. But 7300 is a pretty decent radio, but I'd still get a K3. It's the QSK. I think yours is still relay switched, isn't it? When you send, do you ever have your radio?
7300, I think it's relay, yeah. Now the 7610 is pin dial.
Yeah, the 76 and the 82 whatever, those two are pin diode switch. They're pin but I think the 7300 you still get that click 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 when you're not in QSK. But you must keep the Vox on then.
Yeah, I do QSK and I hear it. It clicks.
It clicks, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with the K3, so for example, if I'll put my keyer at 50 words a minute, and I'm in QSK, you can still hear the noise. So if there's somebody, I hate to do it. Well, let me see if I can. I don't know if it'll work if I take it. I need to find somebody. Everybody's gone to bed. Okay. So what you're hearing is I'm keying on top of. I'm not transmitting, but I'm keying on top of him, and you can still hear him in the background.
Yeah.
It doesn't blink him out, and there's no clicking. So if I do it at like 28, where I'd normally be, if he would send here. So I can transmit, and I can still hear what he's saying.
Yeah.
So that's another big difference is the QSK on the K3 is, but you could achieve that on the what is it, 76 something and the 82 something. I can't remember, 8267 or the two ICOM radios that are above the 7300. They do QSK.
Oh, they got the 7610 and the
yeah.
7600. That's an order right now. The 7700, 7800. Those
7800 and the 82 something.
I don't know what 82 is.
Yeah, there's an 82 something. It's like the $5,000 ICOM.
I can't keep up with all that. Too many ICOMs. they come out with a new ICOM every 3 years, it seems like.
It does. And that's another problem with the Japanese radios compared to the Elecraft, because the Japanese radios, American law says that any product that you create and sell in the United States, you're supposed to stock parts for 11 years. And Yaesu, Kenwood, and ICOM now will no longer service a radio older than 5 years. So if your radio has a problem in 5 years, you're pretty much out of luck. Now, I can't...
Well, that's why they have... I know a guy that had an 857. It died on him. Wouldn't turn on.
Yeah.
And they said it's going to cost you $800 to fix it from Yaesu.
Yeah.
Well, he found a guy in South Dakota. I said, I'll do it for $200.
Sure.
He did, and fixed it, and it worked great now.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
$991 or whatever it was.
If you can get the parts. If it's a common part, then that's great. But if it's something that Yaesu only sells,
well, right.
You're out of luck.
I don't know where he got the parts, whatever he did.
Yeah.
The radio wouldn't turn on, so.
Right, it's probably just something in the power supply. I had a Kenwood come in like that where I repaired it.
$800.
I had a Kenwood where the electrolytic capacitor bled all over the PCB and it ate the traces up. So
yeah.
I fixed that up for the guy, and then I gave it to him, and I said no charge, because I wanted to get him back on the air. He had kind of been off the air for a while because the radio stopped working, and then he took the radio and he died 3 days later.
Oh.
So I was like,
well,
actually, the funny thing is, he said to me when I gave him the radio, he said, "You know what? I appreciate it so much. I'm going to give you the radio. You can keep it." And I said, no, I want to get you back on the air. And he's like, "Well, thank you. That's very nice." And he took it, like I said, and he went home and died. So it was like, it's like, on the one hand, I don't want to feel like I should have taken it just because he was going to go off and die, but on the other hand, it would have been nice to have another radio. I don't know what I'd do with it. Put it in the stack over here. But
yeah, that's right. You have a lot of radios and keys over there, don't you?
It's just a stack. But in any case, they're all for the donations. That's what they are. So, in any case.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
I wonder if you've ever seen an old World War II radio. One of those big ones that they had to use giant crystals for.
I had 20 of them. And I sold them on
the old
eBay.
World War II ones? Really?
Yeah, I had they were called Arc 5s.
Yeah.
And they were in the, they put them in the planes.
Yep.
And I had about, I think I sold 10 of them on eBay. And I think I was charging $150 a piece.
Isn't that something? You used to be able to get them for $5 back in the old day when I was young.
Yeah.
They're all over the place. Art 13,
Yep.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I got a whole box of crystal for those things. They're all 6 megs or something. I don't know really what they are, but
they had different radios. I think there were 4 or 5 different radios, and one was like 80 meters. There was an 80 meter, a 40 meter. Mm-hmm. I think I only had 3 of them. 3 different bands, and there was of course a transmitter and a receiver. There's no such thing as a transceiver then. Yeah, no such thing as a transceiver, just a transmitter or a receiver. And then they would get rack mounted on the plane. I had one of them, and I think I wanted like $180 for it because it was in pretty good condition. And I got people emailing me. Oh, it was amazing. There's a whole group of guys that collect those things. And they were emailing me like every day saying, "I'll give you $50 for that." And I'd be like, "No, I'll take $150 for it." And they'd email me back, "You'll never get that. You're never going to get that."
Oh, I bet you did.
Oh, I know I did. I sold them all for $150. No, you know what I did with that money? I used it to buy Stan a KX2.
There you are.
Yeah. Stan always wanted
all those R5s. They're all gone now.
Yeah. Stan wanted a Elecraft radio his whole life. Well, his whole life of Elecraft being around. And I told him, Stan, I'm gonna buy you a radio, and I sold those things, and I got enough to pay for a fully loaded KX2 with all the extras and features and the bag and everything. And I went over to his house with John, and I said, let me set up an antenna so you could at least use like an SDR radio on your computer and monitor, so you could at least listen. And he said, oh, okay. And so John and I set up an NFED for him. And then I said, oh, I brought something with me. And I put it out on the table, and I opened it up, and, it's KX2 with all the extras and stuff. And he said, oh, wow, that's really nice. And I said, and it's yours. And I gave it to him.
And he walked out the door.
Yep. And we hooked it up, and I said, there you go. And I gave him a little cheat sheet manual, how to run it. And he called me back about, I don't know, maybe 4 or 6 months later, and he told me that he couldn't operate it anymore. He was just too weak. So
just got too weak, huh?
Yeah, the cancer got to him. It was just too much. So he said, you better come get it before it gets lost, because his wife said when he dies, she's going to throw everything out. So I went back over, and I said, I'll let you keep it for a while, and I'll just keep coming back over every week, and, hopefully I'll catch it before she throws it away. And then I went back one more time, and he couldn't get out of the chair. He couldn't really do much of anything. So I went ahead and I said, all right, I said, reluctantly, I'll take it back. So I did. But yeah, I bought that thing for him. I figured he always wanted an Elecraft. Well, buy him an Elecraft. And it was the perfect size, so he could just sit it on his lap, and, when he was sitting watching TV, he could be on the radio. So it's the thought. It made him pretty happy for the last few months. Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, so I've got that one now, but I don't use it too often. The KX3 is pretty much what I use most of the time. The 2 is nice. Actually, the 2 sounds better than the 3, to be honest. I prefer the KX2.
2 is the newer one, right?
KX2 is newer.
Yeah.
They kind of went backwards.
All right, guys.
Is that it? Is that all you could take?
That's it for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, what you didn't know was this was all pre-recorded.
Oh, really?
We were just seeing how long we could keep you here.
Yeah.
It's all a test to see how patient we're.
We had a meeting like this that went real long one time when that fella from Louisiana was on here one night.
Yeah, that's right.
Remember?
Yeah.
I forgot what time we got off of here, but it was
about 10:45. So, all right. Well, if John's leaving, then we should all go. I mean, that's it.
I mean, what's the point, right?
Exactly.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Good night, John.
Talk to you later.
I'll see you guys all later.
All right.
Okay. Good night, guys.
We'll see.
I have a question for Mike.
Thanks for hosting.
All right, Bob. Good night. What do you want to ask, Bram?
Yeah, I was asking about that because I thought it'd be fitting to get a kind of World War II radio to go with the World War II key.
No.
Nope.
No, you don't want that.
Then you gotta clean it up so it doesn't bother the neighbors.
No. First off, as soon as you transmit on it, the person on the other end hears then you fade away. It's so drifty, you can't even stay on the same frequency. And
Well, didn't care back then.
And the power supply is going to have problems, and your code's not going to sound clear. It's going to be like that.
That's the way the Russians used to sound.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Over 20 meters, and they're going about 45 words a minute.
Yep.
They're shaking them down the band.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you don't want you can have a World War II radio to put in your room there as something to look at, but you don't want to put that thing on the air. The earliest I would suggest that you have working on the air right now is probably from 1960. Anything much earlier than 1960, and it's probably not worth having on the air. Not unless you really know how to repair it.
Well, you know how to fix it, yeah.
Yeah, if you know how to fix your radio, then
like Steve SF, he's always screwing with stuff like that, but he knows what he's doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're
I'll take what I can get. I don't have a radio.
Yeah, you know what you should get if you want a nice classic old radio is a Kenwood TS520.
Yeah, I go along with that. That's
Kenwood
TS5 radio, yeah.
And you could probably pick one of those up for about $300 to $500. And that's
Maybe
a beautiful
cheaper.
tube
Go around,
radio.
go around.
You have a 520, Bob? There it is. Or no, on the bottom. A little lower. There you go. See that, Bren? That bottom radio, that's a TS520.
Yeah, that's an old one, right?
Yeah, it's probably 1970.
1973 came out.
73, yeah.
Yep, October. QT cover. Man, everybody went to roar over that thing.
Right. Now, that's an all-tube radio, and you got to know how to, dip the...
Got a receiver, transit the right receiver.
Yeah, you got to know how to dip and peak the thing to get it to transmit properly.
Yep.
And every time you move frequencies, you got to retune it. But it's a good radio. I have one.
Oh, yeah.
I put it on when we do classic radio night.
My first radio.
What was it?
And it got a good CW note, too.
The problem with it is it has it has very limited filtering. I don't even remember. I think it had a 500 hertz filter in it.
I think so. I think that's what it is.
Or you could buy a 500 hertz filter to put in it.
It didn't come with it, if I remember right. I think it was optional.
And you could also modify the VFO to be an LED. Later on, someone came up with the mod.
That'd be different.
Yeah, it was pretty popular in the 80s that way. But
you could find it. You could find a DG5 display if they're still around. There are people making aftermarket ones now. You can pick up.
Yeah, it's an aftermarket thing. But if you get an aftermarket display, you could go digital. But it's still a drifty radio to some degree. Any tube radio will be.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how many of those things are still on the air.
But that thing looks old enough to be a World War II radio. And it's gray like a old World War II radio.
It's a big radio, yeah.
So if you're just trying to make something look good, then you do that. Kind of like that Mac in the background there at Bob's place.
Yeah. Well, actually, I originally got on the World War II kind of radio thing is because I always remembered wanting to stick it to my school and not bring a phone, but instead just a giant radio pack. So my backpack and be like, hello?
You remember the TCS, Mike?
Yeah.
The Navy one?
Yeah.
I had a couple of those ones.
Yeah, I had an Army version of that radio. And it looked like it came in a big suitcase.
Yeah.
My dad brought it home from the war. He brought that home, I think it was the Korean War.
Yeah.
So. But radios like that could be fun to look at, but I sure wouldn't want to have to keep them on the air. That's not easy. There's a lot of work involved.
Yeah.
And they're not cheap.
It'd even just be cool to have it on a wall. I had to take my hand off the
You couldn't put that on the wall. That thing would tear the wall down.
I use it, not to look at. Just like my bug. Every one I got, I use them. So,
yeah, exactly. I don't have anything to look at. Just use. So.
Every bug I use, every one of the one bug I use.
There you go.
Yeah. And that's how it should be. You don't need any more than one of anything, really.
Yeah, unless you want to get really fancy.
I'm gonna get that coffin bug, man. That was my first bug.
I have one. I don't even remember where I got it. I think I paid $30 for it.
That's about what they're worth, yeah. I mean, I forgot when I got a new.
Oh, they're up to $50 now. I saw somebody selling one for $100. I saw somebody selling one for $100, and they sold it. I don't know who bought it, but I sure did.
What's been inside the box, huh?
I don't think so. I think it was just sitting on a table when they took the picture. I didn't see any box or anything.
Yeah, not much of a key, but it's not nostalgia.
For some reason, the bug prices are going back up again. I'm seeing the bug. There was a used GHD regular bug for $300 that I saw, and then the new ones, $650.
Oops.
Who would pay $650 for a standard GHD bug? I don't know.
No. It's audio.
That's a good question.
So, somebody with Bob's money. With that fancy
Someone got
microphone.
scammed.
Only somebody with a fancy mic like that could afford a bug that expensive. And a Mac like that one in the background. Well, that's an expensive computer. What is that? That's an iMac? Or not even?
Which one's that?
The little screen?
Oh yeah, the old computer.
Oh, that's a cushion.
A cushion.
Oh, it's not even a real computer?
No.
Oh. It looks real.
I've got a Macintosh.
Mm-hmm.
No model, just a Macintosh.
Right.
128K.
Oh, that much? You sure?
Single-sided floppy.
Yeah.
5-inch?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I have a SE and an SE30 and all that kind of stuff. They're all in my kid's house. He's rebuilding them and using the things.
Yeah. Amazing.
You can get, flash drives for them now, and you put all the software on the flash drive, and you don't even have to use a floppy. It's got an emulator in it.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Nice.
Well said.
Yeah, my father-in-law, he has a daughter who wrote a thesis on some computer that's got to be like from the 80s, and he saves it in his garage thinking that she's going to someday want to come back and retrieve the data. And I was like, you're not going to even be able to get anything off the floppy disk. It's not going to even be possible. So.
Yeah, I don't think floppy order. The lifespan of a floppy disk is just in storage.
I did enjoy the old sound of the as it was reading the drive. That was always kind of nice to hear.
Well, back when you could buy the stuff, I was told my students that, they should always take pictures of the family gatherings or the grandma and the newborn kid with a camera with film, because I'd bring out a 8-inch floppy and tell them, okay, here's the picture of grandma.
Right.
How you going to get it off the floppy disk?
Exactly.
Right.
I've
got,
you know what?
Drive now with beep ports on them now.
I think I just threw it out this week. I threw out a 3.5-inch floppy drive.
Oh, I did that years ago. But I got one here I picked up. It's got a USB port on it. And they just screw in a floppy disk, and believe it or not, I still have a bunch of them.
Yeah,
but
this one was a parallel.
It doesn't have anything that's modern. So
mine was a parallel floppy, your standard floppy drive. I found it in the cabinet when I was trying to get to something, and I was just like, why am I saving this? Is there anything I'm ever going to need? If I haven't taken it off the floppy in 20 years, am I ever going to use this floppy drive?
I would
Probably
say
not.
No.
How about a zip drive, Mike?
I have one. I used to sell those things.
Uh-oh.
And the media.
Oh,
the media used to jump off the shelf on that thing, because you got, 200 megabytes or something on it?
Absolutely.
It was huge. That thing was huge. Yeah, but then we started magneto-optical drive. Do you remember the MO drive? It looked like a CD inside of a case, a big cartridge. It looked like an 8-track tape, but it had a CD inside of it. That was magneto-optical, and then they made the worm version where you could actually record over it. And then, what else? Yeah, we started with 8-inch disc. Actually, we started with punch card, and then from punch card,
tape drives.
Tape drive. That's right. Punch card, tape drive, 8-inch, 5-inch, 3.5-inch, zip drive, magneto-optical, a 4mm, 8mm DLT. And now it's LTO, and LTO is still around. That's like 4 gigabyte tape.
I had a HP 85, and it uses a little magnetic cartridges to program the thing.
Yep.
Oh, that's a calculator.
No, it was a computer.
Wow.
No, it was a calculator.
Portable. I even had the fitted case for it.
Yeah, well, it was really a calculator by today's standards.
With a keyboard.
With a keyboard, yeah.
Right. Amazing. Amazing how far things have come.
Thermal printer built in.
Oh, I remember this thing called an AM65 that Rockwell made.
Yep.
Had a little printer on it, and you could do programming language on it. I think it was machine language. If I remember right.
Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing, the old stuff. All right, that's it for me.
Dating ourselves.
Yeah, right. I don't want to date myself anymore. And hang on a minute. One last question. Brendan, how many of those drives did you recognize that I just mentioned?
I recognized zip and hard drive, but those were like the only ones I heard.
There you go.
Oh, floppy disk.
Oh yeah, the floppy disk, right.
I've seen those.
Have you ever seen a 5-inch or an 8-inch floppy?
I think I have.
They're black, and they were like in a paper, not even in a plastic.
So I guess you've seen a vacuum tube, right?
He's got one there.
Hey Mike, do you remember these old things?
Oh yeah, that's a compact disc. That was the large version.
No, this is just a record.
No, I know it is.
A record? Oh, I mean a phonograph record?
What you should see is a 33 that's from the way back years when they were,
I have one. I have a whole set of those, and it's from the 50s.
Oh.
It was all like Churchill and Hitler and all that.
Yeah, well, go back before that, and then they were like 1/4-inch thick discs that made out of Bakelite or something. I don't remember what they were made
don't drop them.
Bob, you were playing those when you were a kid, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
78, 45. Remember those?
Yeah, it was a 45. But it was
there's a couple of symphonies when I go to a concert. There's always a spot in the performance where I figured that the whole orchestra should stop, because that's the time you turn the record over and play the rest of the piece.
And in the meantime, what you should do is have somebody on the cymbal going. All right, there it is. Just so you know, this whole meeting was broadcast on YouTube, so everybody say goodnight to the YouTube crowd.
Good night, YouTube.
We still have two people watching us, so we thank you for coming.
Those are some patient people.
And I'm going to shut down the broadcast for YouTube. So again, good night, YouTube people. Thank you for joining us. And now I'll stop.